Good afternoon to you. Hello, and welcome inside Municipal Stadium, right here in the middle of Waterbury, Connecticut.
And a two-run RBI triple gives the Golden Falcons the lead.
Slides into home, and Goldie Beacom mobs Kyle Walker.
Matt Seaman has done it. Presumably the first no-hitter in post-university baseball history.
Good morning and welcome to Municipal Stadium in Waterbury, Connecticut. Day one, game one of the 2024 CACC Baseball Championship live here on the CACC Network. Welcome everyone, I am Doug DeBias, joined here by a longtime partner, can't say first-time broadcast partner because we did that last year, Mark Mentone. Mark, great to have you with us here. Let's set the table for the day. We got 3 games today, starting an hour earlier than the original 11 a.m. time to get it in before the rain. Rain's supposed to come overnight. Forecast did not look good this week, but now it's changed. It looked like we're going to get the games in.
Yeah.
But setting the table here, first game today, you've got Thomas Jefferson University, number 1 seed in the South, number 1 overall seed for the tournament, taking on the defending conference champ Felician, North number 2 seed. After that, it will be Post, number 1 in the North, against Goldie Beacom, number 2 in the South. Game 3, that'll be a roughly 4 p.m. start. It'll be an elimination game. The losers of the first 2 games today play. But setting the table here, this is a really important first day because you can set yourself up for a potential long run in this double elimination tournament. But you could also put yourself behind the 8 ball early on.
The goal is to play 1 game per day. Everybody goes into this part of the tournament saying we want to play 3 games. We want to play 1 game per day to get to the championship and win it. But I'm excited to be here for a lot of reasons, mainly because of the storylines. You and I have both been involved with the CACC for a long time, and today we've got 4 teams that are all ranked in the NCAA regional rankings. We've got 3 teams that have never won this tournament before, and so either Felician's going to get through and repeat. You have last year's champion in. That's another storyline. So either Felician's going to get through and repeat, or somebody's going to win this event for the first time ever.
Yeah, 4 teams in the latest NCAA Division II East Region rankings. Those came out yesterday afternoon. Jefferson currently 2nd in the region. Goldie Beacom number 4. Post number 5. Felician number 9. Right now on the outside looking in. We're going to need to win this tournament or make a deep run, and maybe some of the teams that are just ahead of them fall back to potentially get an at-large, but it really looks like they're going to need to win it to get in. But however, 4 teams in the regional rankings. You've been a part of this conference a long time, and for a long time it was whoever was the champ of this tournament got the AQ, and that was it for the CACC. Now you got 4 teams duking it out, and could have at least 3 next week.
And baseball's the sport where that's been coming for a long time. I think baseball's been the sport where the CACC has been the most competitive in the region, top to bottom, not just a couple of teams. And you're seeing it this year. I don't have the stat. I didn't have time to research it, but my memory tells me that this may be the first time, at least in the NCAA era and maybe ever, that we've gotten to this point in the tournament, and neither Wilmington nor Dominican are here. And it speaks to the development of the league top to bottom.
Yeah, talking about Jefferson, led by head coach Pat Horvath, CACC Coach of the Year, 3rd straight year that this, 3rd straight year that, 4th straight year, got to correct myself, 4th straight year that they have a winning record. The pandemic threw all the programs off, but the next year when everybody was able to come back and play, they made it to the championship final, lost to Dominican, but last year, again, another winning record, 23, and now this year, and they take that next step, and they are the South Division champ, the number 1 overall seed coming into this tournament. And a big thing that I feel what allowed them to take that next step and have a legit chance to win this tournament, I talked with Pat Horvath 2 years ago when they were eliminated on the first day here at Municipal, and he said, we have the talent to get here. We just don't have the depth in certain areas to stay here. And I really feel that they have the depth this year, pitching, fielding, hitting up and down the lineup. This is a really well-balanced team that he's put together this year.
And they've knocked on the door so many times in this event, in terms of getting to the finals, of being very close to winning it, and he's looking for a little bit more, like you said, balance this year. I think we're going to see an excellent matchup right away because I didn't see the lineups. I assume Felician is throwing the CACC Pitcher of the Year.
Mike
Calden.
Yep.
And Jefferson leads the league by far in just about every offensive category, including a batting average over 320.
Yeah, pitching matchups, Mike Calden for Felician, the CACC Pitcher of the Year. He'll be opposed by Samuel Bass for Jefferson, all-conference hurler himself this year. And looking at that lineup for both teams today, especially for Jefferson, there were some really impressive hitters in the lineup. Jefferson this year, several players earn all-conference. For Felician, they had a couple. But as we read off the names here today, and we'll give you the lineups here momentarily, it's a lot of names that we called last year when they really gutted their way and willed their way to a conference championship.
Exactly. Starting with third baseman Dari Hanau, who I believe is now a three-time all-conference selection, has been a mainstay in the lineup. Krishna Mayer was kind enough to invite me to the banquet last night, and I was talking to the Felician coaches, and they talked about how he doesn't strike out very much. Assistant coach Dustin Javins was telling me about the stats. He's got about 475 at-bats, only struck out 50 times. Pitching staff, Mike Calder, you're going to see Logan Waltz in this tournament at some point. Guys that were, Julian Uejima was a starter last year, was a reserve a little bit of this year, and came on back in the starting lineup after an injury. But he's also had, like most teams, recruit over guys, influx of new talent. So we'll see that show itself as this game gets underway.
Let's run down the starting lineups today for both teams. First, for Felician, they will be the visitors batting here in the top of the first. Leading off and playing in left field will be number 7, Thomas Kendrick. Batting in the 2 spot, the third baseman, number 4, Hayden Walters. Batting number 3, Dowdy Hanau, the shortstop, number 13 for Felician. Batting in the cleanup spot, number 24, the first baseman, Ricky Voss. Batting 5th, the center fielder, Jack Skrvanek. Batting 6th, the designated hitter, number 33, Andrew DeAngelis. Following him and doing the catching will be Jose David Medrano. Batting 8th, playing in right field, number 30, Chris Biolsi. And batting 9th, playing at second base, Alex Torres. Once again, Kendrick, Walters, Hanau, Voss, Skrvanek, DeAngelis, Medrano, Biolsi, and Torres for Felician. As we mentioned, Mike Calden starting on the mound today for Felician. Jefferson lineup today looks like this. Batting first, playing third base, it's Justin Egner, number 9. Batting second and playing at first base, number 7, Chris McLean. Batting third and doing the catching, number 24, Josh Lopez. Batting in the cleanup spot, the right fielder, number 13, Marquise Wood. Batting 5th and playing in left field, number 1, Joshua Lopez. Yes, we got a Josh Lopez and a Joshua Lopez. Batting 6th, the shortstop, number 4, Gabe Silva. Batting 7th, the designated hitter, number 21, Justin Espinal. Batting 8th and playing at second base is number 10, Matt Vita. And batting 9th and playing in center field, number 31, Jordan Tibericcio. And as we mentioned, Bass on the mound today for Jefferson. Once again, for Jefferson, the lineup, Egner, McLean, Josh Lopez, Wood, Joshua Lopez, Silva, Espinal, Vita, and Tibercio. We're going to step aside for a short break, and we come back. It'll be first pitch, game one, day one of the 2024 CACC Baseball Championship. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. Welcome back to Municipal Stadium, Waterbury, Connecticut. Introduction of the starting lineups here today for both Felician and Jefferson. Game one here, day one of the double elimination tournament. Felician making it here to Waterbury as they won their best of three first-round series against Caldwell. They swept the doubleheader last Friday to make it here to Waterbury. Jefferson getting a first-round bye into this double elimination tournament. They are on about a 10-day break since they've last played. Talking with Pat Horvath, he was fine with that. It gave the chance, the arms to rest up a little bit. They were able to get some good practice in. Also, they were dealing with finals, so they didn't have to worry about all of the, you've got to play here, play there. Who do we got to go travel to next? Gave the guys a chance to kind of get reset and close out the semester strong academically. That's another thing I don't think, Mark, that fans think about this time of year. You're trying to win a championship, but you're also trying to wrap up finals and have a good end of the academic year.
It's interesting. My full-time job now is with the Waterbury public school system, so I happen to know that Post has graduation on Saturday. So that's one of our 4 schools that's dealing with that right in the middle of this, because we partner with Post on a few things, and we have some kids in that ceremony. But I do remember one. I did see on the CACC network that Jefferson had a graduation ceremony, I believe it was Tuesday, for their baseball seniors who wouldn't be at their graduation ceremony. And I do remember one year where I happened to be present where the conference was nice enough to hold a pregame ceremony for 3 Felician seniors that were missing graduation on the day, I believe it was the championship round.
2016, if I'm correct.
You are correct. So
were these two teams? Jefferson was known as Philadelphia University.
But yes, it was these two teams. It's interesting that you remember that. That's exactly right. And it's a tough time of year all the way around because you got to work around final exams and you don't know sometimes when you're playing until the last game of the regular season. So there's a lot of finagling on the academic side, and need a good liaison.
And we're going to step aside now for the playing of our national anthem. Starting lineups introduced. National anthem performed. All that's left is first pitch. And Mark, we were talking a little bit about how Jefferson has gotten here and how their team's been constructed this year. I think previous iterations of CACC champions for Chris Lang, and remember teams that had a lot of all-conference players. They still have very good players on this team. You don't get to this round or win a championship last year without good players, but it feels like this team, and even last year's team, really they were tough. I think that was the best way to describe it. They gutted out at bats. They made plays in the field. Maybe they weren't flashy, but they just had tough guys that knew what to do in those situations.
And some of those guys are still here, and the rest of them will have to figure it out. I think that process started in the play-down round. But it's if you know the Langen brothers, they're hitting coaches for a living. I mean, that's what Steve Langen does. That's what Chris started out doing. They're offensive-minded coaches, but they've adapted, and they've had to adapt. And at some point during the wood bat era, Chris made a philosophical decision that he was going to put more of his scholarship money on the mound, and I think this year's team and this year's stats is evident of that. Where I think I saw they were second in the league in ERA, but only about 7th or 8th in batting average. They don't hit a lot of home runs. They've tried to get ahead early in games by getting leadoff man on and moving runners. We saw that last year in this tournament. And that's a deep contrast from what looks like a Jefferson team that bangs the ball around a little bit.
On the mound starting today for Jefferson, Samuel Bass. .5 ERA, a 1.42 WHIP, 52 innings pitched. He has yielded 47 hits over those 52 innings, 42 runs allowed, only 39 earned. Just 27 walks, however, 62 strikeouts, so some good numbers posted by Bass this season. And leading off here for Felician, in the top of the first is Kendrick, the left fielder. .10:04, time of the first pitch. That one over for a called strike. Grounded to second. Vida up with it, throws on to first, one away.
I can't quite see first base and right field from my vantage point, so I'm going to lean on you. I'm going to lean on you all day anyway because I'm not a broadcaster.
Slide down here. I can say we can get close, but I think we already know each other.
I'm a print guy that's learning how to be a broadcaster late in life here, so I'm going to lean on your talents. I guess the next 2 days, and then Andrew Byrne comes in for the championship game. Is that correct?
No, we will be here.
We will be here all 3 days?
Yes.
Okay.
Andrew unfortunately could not make it.
Okay.
Hayden Walters, third baseman at the plate, showed bunt there.
So you and I for the duration. I like it.
Takes a first pitch strike, but already 2 pitches and 1 quick out for Bass. That's got to be a good thing for him, just as you try to keep ahead of that pitch count. That one grounded to third. Egner up with it, throws on to first. And 2 away quickly here in the top of the first. So 4 pitches, 2 outs for Bass. That's a great job there to get ahead of the count there.
Yeah, I've been watching this tournament since 2001 when I was at New Jersey Institute of Technology, which was Division II at the time, and Post was hosting the tournament then. It took a turn at Wilmington for a number of years, and now it's back at Post. And I'll let you introduce the next hitter.
Dory Hanau, shortstop. Big cut there.
And there's 2 schools of thought. One is that your opening day pitcher is done for the tournament, so you may as well let him go as long as he can go. And the second school of thought is maybe be economical because maybe he can come back in relief.
Grounded to short. And nice job there by Silva to throw on to first. So a quick 1, 2, 3, top of the first for Bass. Jefferson due up here at the bottom of the first. They will have Egner, McLean, and Josh Lopez. Step aside for a commercial break. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. Welcome back to Municipal Stadium here in Waterbury, Connecticut, heading to the bottom of the first. Egner, McLean, and Josh Lopez due to lead off here at the bottom of the first for the Rams. On the mound today for Felician is the CACC Pitcher of the Year, Mike Calden. 16 appearances this year, 12 starts, a 5-3 record, does have a save also to his ledger. 69 in the third innings pitch, has only given up 66 hits, I beg your pardon. Only 33 runs allowed, only 27 earned though. 99 strikeouts to only 21 walks and a 3.50 ERA. Can do a little bit of everything. Start, come out of the pen. This is a versatile arm that Chris Langen could use, especially if they get further along in this tournament as well.
Well, that's what I was talking about as the third out was made, is that your school of thought is either you're gonna burn a guy, he's gonna throw 130 pitches, he's gonna be done for the tournament, or you're gonna try to be economical, or hope that he is economical, I should say. And if you have the thought in the back of your mind that if you make it to Saturday, your game one starter has an inning.
Justin Egner, the third baseman, to lead off here for Jefferson in the bottom of the first. Egner this season batting .353 with 2 home runs, 27 RBI. And as you mentioned, Mark, during the pregame show, this is a Jefferson team that can hit. They are among the league leaders in several offensive categories. This is going to be a tough test for Mike Calden.
Yeah, it's what you look for as a baseball fan. It's the classic matchup. The pitcher of the year, who's a power pitcher, against a highly charged offensive lineup that seems to do it with power, speed, any way they can score runs. The eye-popping number for Mike Calden was the 99 strikeouts in the 66 innings. I actually was a math major. I mean, a lot of people like to say I wasn't a math major. I actually was, and that pencils out to about half his outs are recorded via strikeout, 1.5 per inning.
And the first pitch from Calden to Egner, high for a ball.
Had a chance to talk to Felician pitching coach Frank Colazzo last night. He said Calden throws about 60% fastballs, if you would add in his estimate.
That pitch low for a ball, 2-0 the count. And a 2-0 count. That pitch over for a called strike. Two and 1 the count. Lifted but foul over towards the dugout just beyond right field here at Municipal Stadium. Dimensions here at Municipal, 382 to left, 400 to straightaway center, 338 down the right field line. When this tournament first came here and the wood bats were still being used, there were no home runs. And even with the metal bats, there still aren't as many home runs, but you've seen some guys put some over the fence here the last few years. That pitch misses high and outside. Count goes to 3-2 now on Egner.
A.J. McNamara on the athletic administration of Post University was their baseball coach for a time, and may remember a time when Post would lead the league in triples every year because his park is so big.
That one is going to get down into the right center, and a leadoff double for Egner. And that'll bring the first baseman, Chris McLean, to the plate. McLean this year batting .353 with 6 home runs, 32 RBI. First team all-conference first baseman.
Now, I'm going to give the disclaimer that I have not seen Jefferson play this year, but based on their stats and based on this being a 9-inning game, I'm not expecting them to move the runner.
Pitch inside.
So 1-0 the count to McLean.
I'm going to expect Jefferson to play for the big inning here with their high charge lineup.
One foul to the backstop. Count even now at 1-1.
Sometimes when the pitcher has accomplished his called in, if you don't get him early, you're not going to get him. So tremendous opportunity right away for the Rams.
And unlike Bass that we saw in the top of the first, Egner forced Calden to throw some pitches there in that first at bat. So see what Jefferson tries to do here in attacking Calden today, pitcher of the year. That one misses high and inside. 2-1 the count now on McLean. We mentioned 6 home runs, 32 RBI for the first baseman, first team all CACC this season.
Couldn't ask for a better start for the Rams. Their pitcher throws less than 10 pitches in the top of the inning, and here they are. Leadoff man out, ahead in the count.
Calden looks back to second, comes to the plate. That one misses outside. Count now 3-1. On McLean.
Hope there's no English teachers watching. He threw fewer than 10 pitches in the first inning.
The catcher, Josh Lopez, in the on-deck circle. I'm going to wonder how many times I screw up Josh and Joshua Lopez this week.
The first time I saw that, I was doing some research a couple weeks ago. I was like, wow, what did Doug set me up for there?
Both all-conference honorees, so 2 terrific players. Big swing and a miss there by McLean. Count runs full, 3-2. That pitch there shows you the talent, the arm that Calden has, able to really go up high there and get McLean to chase.
Power pitchers have more margin for error. They can fall behind and get swings and misses.
That pitch over for a called third strike, 1 away, so a big strikeout there for Calden. And that will bring the catcher, Josh Lopez, to the plate. Lopez this year batting .343 with 19 home runs, 52 RBIs. Clearly the team leader for the Rams this year.
And absolutely eye-popping numbers. I mean, I'd have to look at your the CACC website and see how many guys there have been that have hit that many home runs in a season in conference history. At least the recent history that we have. I'm almost positive the Felician record is 16.
That pitch over for a called strike, 0-1 the count to Lopez. Trying to remember you're going to have to go back and you may have to jump on your Google machine there. Yeah. The name is slipping my mind. 2016 season, the first baseman, the slugging first baseman for, at the time, Philadelphia University. Trying to...
I'm on Jefferson's site, let me see.
Oh, it's bad that the name is...
Stephen Wells.
Stephen Wells, yes.
Got to see how many he hit.
He hit a few at Wilson Field in that 2016 championship tournament. To use the old baseball cliche, I don't know if they've landed yet. And that was with the wood bat. Yes. He hit some monster shots. And that was at a time when they had Stephen Wells, Abraham Almonte, who was a great pitcher and fielder. He played, he was a hitter, pitcher, was terrific in the field. They had some terrific players when I first arrived here at the CACC.
Fernando Garza, the guy you're thinking of?
Or Fernando Garza? What?
I think Almonte was just a pitcher.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Garza was player of the year.
Yep.
And he could do, he was both. He did everything. That's right. Abraham Almonte was the pitcher, yes.
But, I mean, he could do everything to the point where they would bring him in to pitch from like his shortstop position. Mm-hmm. And he was, that kind of player.
I'll say that we're forgetting some of the names and some of the positions, but that just shows, A, that we're old, but that also shows some of the talent that Pat Horvath has brought in. We cannot keep straight some of the terrific players that have played for him.
That's what I mean. They've been knocking on the door so many years. Let's see if this is the year they break it down.
2-1 the count. Count now even at 2-2. That's been the thing. They got to the championship final, they being Jefferson. In 2016, they came out of the winner's bracket and played Felician and to Felician's credit, won the 2 games that day to win the championship.
I was there at Wilmington, yes.
And Jefferson just a couple years ago, 2021 championship, that one lined into right field. This is going to bring a run home, and Jefferson up early, 1-0 here, bottom of the first. RBI single for Josh Lopez, scoring Egner.
Number 3 hitter does what he's supposed to do with a pitch that was left up in the zone.
Now batting, the right fielder, number 13, Marquise Wood.
And that'll bring the cleanup hitter, the right fielder, Marquise Wood. Another one of Pat Horvath's first-team all-conference honorees this year. Wood batting .320 this year. 7 home runs. 50 RBI. Some of the RBI totals, 27, 35, 52, 47, 32, 33, 50. Got a lot of guys in this lineup that can drive in runs. First pitch, a strike to Wood. Lined right to second, throw over to first. Gets him.
Great job on both ends of that play.
Fantastic work there by the glove by Torres. Able to snag that liner and throw over to first. And nice job by Voss there to apply that tag in time. So they turn a double play. They limit the damage. It could have been worse, but Jefferson does get the run. We head to the top of the second. 1-0 Jefferson. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. We head to the top of the second. 1-0 Jefferson over Felician. Voss, Skirvinick, and DeAngelis due up for the Golden Falcons here in the top of the second. See if Samuel Bass, the Jefferson starter, can have another efficient 1-2-3 second, just like he did top of the first, through less than 10 pitches. Got Felician to roll over on 3 groundouts.
So some quick research, Doug. In the Division II era, which goes back to, I believe, 2003, we can only find one guy in the CACC that's hit 20 or more home runs in a season. And this is before your time, but I remember him because it was early in Brian August's tenure. A guy by the name of Jason Rust at Wilmington hit 21 in 2007.
Voss leading off here for Felician. That one skips to the backstop. Voss batting .305 this year, 6 home runs, 34 RBI.
And there's an interesting part of that story. During that season, Jason Rust had a game where he hit for the home run cycle.
Really?
He hit 4 home runs, one of each kind. I don't remember the opponent. I would have to look at our friend Dan Lauletta's website to recall that and how many RBIs he actually had in the game, but it was an unbelievable performance that year.
1-2 the count. Peeled down to third. Voss able to check his swing, count 2-2.
It's been kind of a funny bone of contention over the years because Jason Rust actually did not win Player of the Year that year. That was my first year at
That one lined through the right side, base hit, leadoff single. First hit of the ball game for Felician.
That was my first year at Felician, and we were able to successfully push Frank Quintana for Player of the Year that year, who had 16 home runs, hit around 400, on base of around 500. And Coach August has playfully never let Coach Langen forget that vote.
Skirvinick, the center fielder, now at the plate, gets down the bunt.
We talked about the difference in philosophies of these two teams offensively, and there it is. That's a power hitter in the second inning of a 9-inning game, looking to move a runner.
Oh, and 1 the count. Throw over to first.
Kind of an old school trick where the pitcher throws to first base to see if the batter will give away what he's doing, and Skirvinick did show bunt again.
Batting .261 this year, 7 home runs, 24 RBI.
Doesn't look comfortable.
Oh, and 2 the count. That one, nice job there by Lopez to block that one in the dirt. 1 and 2 the count.
Good job by Skirvinick not chasing. Ball had a lot of bite to it. They often talk in baseball the difference between an 0-2 waste pitch and a wasted pitch. That was a waste pitch trying to get the batter to chase.
Voss on first, takes his lead. Skirvinick at the plate. That one also in the dirt. Nice job once again by Lopez to block it. Count even now at 2 and 2. Big opportunity here for Felician after giving up that 1 run bottom of the first. Could the Golden Falcons get something going? Voss down to second. In there, stolen base. And the count goes full to Skirvinick. So now, nobody out, a runner in scoring position.
After the 2 failed bunt attempts, Skirvinick is back in the count, and now with a runner in scoring position.
3-2 pitch on the way. Fisted down the left field line, foul.
Felician inches away from tying the game there.
Nice job by Bass there to pitch inside. Nice job there by Skirvinick to fight that off and stay alive, getting the bat around in time.
Nearly got it fair. Ball just missed the third base umpire.
Count remains 3-2. Voss takes his lead off second. And Skirvinick able to stay alive there. Just got a fraction of it.
Yeah, well, tough break for Lopez. Just unable to hang on. Obviously, if he squeezes the ball, the batter's out.
Everything that people said this year, Lopez, not just for the bat, a lot of people really commended his defense this year. Yeah, that one fouled to the backstop.
Did I see he's only a sophomore?
He is.
Do I have them confused already?
That's all right. I think we will probably get confused throughout the day. He is a senior.
Okay.
Joshua Lopez, the outfielder, is a sophomore.
Got it.
Yes. Swing and a miss there. Bass strikes out Skirvinick. 1 away.
Nothing fancy there. Just a challenge in a good spot.
And that'll bring the designated hitter, Andrew DeAngelis, to the plate. Batting .250 this year. No home runs, 15 RBI. 3 doubles and a triple on the year. Popped up, foul ground, and that heads over into the bullpen. Joshua Lopez, the left fielder, so now we will call Joshua's name. Taking a look at that one. So Josh Lopez, the catcher, Joshua Lopez, the left fielder for Jefferson.
Okay.
Both all conference.
Yes.
Oh, won the count on DeAngelis. Pitch misses high, 1-1.
We'll get this out of the way now. In the interest of full disclosure, I was the SID at Felician for 16 years before moving on to a government job. And there was a time at Felician, actually for a 3-year period, we had 2 basketball players on our men's team with the same name from the same hometown. They weren't related, but they were both named Anthony Green. They were both from Jersey City.
Really?
Oh, that was fun. So we used middle initials on the roster, yeah.
One foul to the backstop. What were their numbers? Do you remember their uniform numbers?
One was 3 and one was 13, I think.
Okay. So they were even close there.
Yeah.
And Andrew DeAngelis at the plate, number 33. So we'll keep the trend of 3s going here. So 1 out, count 1 and 2 on DeAngelis, the designated hitter. Voss at second, led off the inning with a single, stole second. That one just over the head of Silva. Shallow left field throw home. Not in time. Voss scores. RBI single for Andrew DeAngelis.
And a great read by Ricky Voss, seeing that the shortstop was not going to catch that and taking off right away and not waiting for the ball to hit the ground.
For the Golden Falcons, the catcher, number 29, Jose David Madrano.
So we are all tied at 1, and that will bring the catcher Jose David Madrano to the plate. So 1 out, a runner, first throw over to first. DeAngelis back in time. Able just to bloop that one over the shortstop, Gabe Silva. And as you said, a great read off the bat there by Voss. Pitch misses high to Madrano.
Trying to get a feel for how Bass holds runners here because Felician may put another runner in motion.
It really is amazing what you can do with speed.
Yeah.
You can really manufacture runs without having to swing away every time. That pitch misses low.
And over the years, the 2 teams we talked about that aren't here this year that almost are always here were the 2 best at it, Wilmington and Dominican, from what I saw. Another team that loved to play the speed game was Chestnut Hill. They would always seem like 3 of the top 5 guys in stolen bases.
Yes.
From day one when they came into the league.
Yes.
Love to put pressure on the defense.
Every year you would see they'd have, as you said, 3 or 4 guys among the league leaders in stolen bases. That is definitely a calling card, still is a Bob Spratt's program.
Love to put runners in motion, put pressure on the defense, not wait around. Try to get 3 hits in an inning to score a run.
My favorite team's the Tampa Bay Rays, and they really value speed in their lineup. So if they can get their leadoff guy on, there's a good chance that he's at third. And when I say on, whether it's a walk or a single or what have you, there's a good chance they're taking second and they're taking third. And I know the other thing with Major League Baseball now, you can only have so many throwovers to the plate.
Right.
So once you exhaust that, then it's an invitation to take off.
And I've read that that's why the rule was put in, to encourage more stolen bases, because teams were cutting back on the running game in order to not waste outs on the bases.
Yeah, generate more offense, more runs, more of the entertainment factor. Yeah. 2-1 the count to Madrano. Bass trying to keep DeAngelis in check there first, throws over.
To paraphrase the old commercial, everybody digs the long ball, so.
Heather Locklear was that commercial. Summer of '98 when
right?
when McGuire and Sosa were going
Okay.
after it, and the commercial was with Glavine and Maddox.
Okay.
That one fouled off over the backstop, 2-2 the count. So this portion of old man broadcasting right here, case for our younger fans out there, in 1998, the summer of chasing 62 and Roger Maris between Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire.
But that was supposedly the rationale for putting in that throwover rule, was to encourage more stolen bases.
2-2 the count.
One of them, obviously. Length of game was a factor.
Throw over to first once again. Yeah, but that was a commercial where Glavine and Glavine and Maddox, who were two of the top, I'd say, 4 or 5 pitchers at the time in Major League Baseball. And
Back in the days where pitchers hit.
yep, and they felt they weren't getting their just due, so they tried to bulk up and hit the long ball, and that one grounded. Oh, nice job there by Vita. He headed over towards the second base bag and then had to adjust at the last second. Didn't know if maybe DeAngelis got in his sight line there a little bit. He had to adjust, but able to get there and make the play in time.
Runner was in motion with 2 strikes. Batter put the ball in play and just couldn't hit it hard enough to get it through the vacated right side.
And that brings Biolsi to the plate. Chris Biolsi this year batting .227, 4 home runs, 15 RBI. Yes, Glavine and I keep wanting to say Smoltz. Glavine and Maddox were walking out of the gym, and Heather Locklear made a guest star in the commercial, and all of a sudden noticed them after she hadn't noticed them as pitchers before, because they had been taking batting practice.
Now you're bringing me back. That's right.
That was a Nike commercial.
Okay.
That pitch catches the inside corner.
Gets the call. Good.
1-2 the count. 2 down, runner at second. That's DeAngelis. 1 run across already in this frame for the Golden Falcons as they tie the score up 1-1. Game 1, day 1 of this double elimination tournament.
Fast not in the rubber, so he didn't have to step. Just kind of made an awkward throw.
I have the charger with us so that we can just charge batteries throughout the day. So we can go through our system.
1-2 pitch coming from Bass. DeAngelis takes off for third. No throw down. So DeAngelis there with, I believe they'll give him the credit there for the stolen base. They will.
No reason not to.
Yes. So count 2-2. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the second inning. Top half of the frame. That one fouled off over the grandstand side. Right behind the first base dugout here at Municipal Stadium. A lot of history here at Municipal Stadium. Maybe for fans that don't know, you would know more about it than I would, just being from here. It's a lot of legendary names have played here at one point or the other. Whether it's been various youth tournaments or minor league ball through here. And who was Waterbury? Who were they associated with? Did they have a minor league?
Waterbury Spirit. I don't remember them. Yeah, I want to say it was Can-Am, but maybe Commissioner Barrett can help us out with that.
But no minor league team that had an association with a major league team was there?
Probably maybe before that.
Okay. We'll have to check. 3-2 the count. On Biolsi. Lifted foul over towards the first base bullpen area. Just beyond right field here at Municipal. The rain that they have been calling for all week is supposed to come tonight. And Bass misses high and inside, so Biolsi draws a 2-out walk, puts runners at the corner for the Golden Falcons. And that will bring Torres to the plate.
Wikipedia is telling me Waterbury had an Eastern League MLB affiliate from 1966 to 1986.
Torres batting 186 this year. No home runs, 3 RBI.
various major league affiliates.
Okay.
And the Waterbury Spirit were a Northeast League team, independent professional baseball, 1997 to 2000.
Want to know the count to Torres. That pitch also misses. Just high. 2-0 the count. But Eastern League has a long, rich history here in the state of Connecticut. New Haven Ravens, New Britain Rockcats, the Norwich Navigators, got the Hartford Yard Goats. So there have been a lot of great Double-A league, and a lot of teams here have called the Nutmeg stayed home. That pitch in there for a strike. 2-1 the count as Bass tries to battle back. Bielsi takes off for second. However, the throw down was in time, and now he's caught in a rundown, and they get him before DeAngelis can come home. And that will end the threat for Felician here in the second. But the Golden Falcons do get a run. They tie it at 1-1. And, Mark, what did you see there on that play?
Better execution by Jefferson by Felician. Bad jump, didn't stay in the rundown long enough for Felician, and Jefferson executed a rundown perfectly to get the tag in well before the run scored.
And it looked like Bielsi maybe got a good jump on there, but a great throw down to second there by Lopez.
And once he realized he was going to be out, he stopped to try to get the runner to score, and Jefferson would have none of it. One throw, tag, done.
You had a better sight line of DeAngelis at third than I did. Was he a little delayed? Were they just waiting to?
Well, he was trying to see if the other runner was going to go straight in or was going to stop. And when he stopped, that's when he took off. Try to save the situation to at least get a run out of the play, because it was obvious at that point that there was going to be an out recorded.
So due up here for Jefferson in the bottom of the second will be Joshua Lopez, the left fielder. Following him, Silva, the shortstop, and Espinal, the designated hitter. And, we talked about Josh Lopez a lot here, the catcher behind the plate, but Joshua Lopez, the left fielder, all conference this year for Pat Horvath. Silva behind him, first team all conference as a utility pitcher. And then Espinal, designated hitter, have called him several times this year with, not this year, but in the past. It's a name that's been in this lineup for Pat Horvath for a while.
And that's usually how it's done to get to this level. A good mix of veterans and newcomers. Sometimes in Division II, if you get a team that's all seniors, they get a little disinterested. They start to look at the next phase of their life. So you need that youth to kind of invigorate those older guys. And the opposite, if you have too much inexperience, they haven't been here before and don't know how to handle certain situations.
So Joshua Lopez leading off here in the bottom of the second inning. First pitch, a strike to Lopez. That pitch also in there for a called strike, 0-2.
Seeing the repertoire for called in there. One fastball, off-speed pitch.
Did you take it?
My guys have taken it for us, for you guys.
I don't know where it's at then, because I didn't have it last night afterwards. Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
Calden showing a bit of emotion there as he doesn't get the call. The pitch looked like it was just above the strike zone.
1-2 the count. Oh, the blue bag's at the office. I didn't know it was in there.
Runs the gamut with another fastball and missed low there. Lopez back in the count.
Two and 2 the count. That one back through the middle, base hit.
Not a bad pitch, better job of hitting. Wow.
Torres nearly got to it there, but just snuck by the glove there. Torres, a second baseman for Felician, but a leadoff single there for Lopez.
That's a pitch that he may not have swung at if there wasn't two strikes. It looked like it was too close to take and did a great job getting enough of the bat head on it to get it through the middle.
And that will bring the shortstop Gabe Silva to the plate. As I mentioned, Silva this year, first team all-conference utility pitcher. So I have a feeling we're going to be calling his name a lot this weekend in a variety of roles for Pat Horvath. Throw over to first.
And as an SID, I always appreciated those guys because they had to be ready any time to do just about anything. And they have to run with the pitchers, they have to take batting practice.
And there have been a lot of terrific utility pitchers in this conference the last several years. That pitch misses outside. Thinking of
who's the young man at Post the last couple of years? I think his last name was Gehrig.
Gehrig. Matt Gehrig was it? Yes. Yep. Who was the play? Oh, and this portion of Old Man Baseball is brought to you by I'm forgetting names. That shows you how long.
Right.
Who was the player that Felician had during those runs?
Jason Polgano.
Polgano. Yes.
And the problem with two-way players is sometimes they get worn down or they get hurt. Jason Polgano got hurt in a freak injury his senior year playing first base, just stretching for a ball, and the runner ran into him. It was accidental. It was down in Myrtle Beach, and missed the rest of his senior season. So after 2 years of making all region as a utility / pitcher, Felician lost two players in one in a very freak way. So that's the only problem with two-way players is sometimes they get hurt easier than your traditional hitter or pitcher.
0-2 the count to Silva. Throw over to first.
Jason Polgano, an All-American as a sophomore, a utility pitcher for Felician.
16?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, it was, because I remember after Felician lost in their first round game, Jason Polgano threw a shutout.
To Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jason Polgano threw a shutout against Chestnut Hill to keep Felician in that tournament on Thursday.
Throw over to first.
Very late on Thursday.
We're looking at seven Jefferson players making all conference this year. Mm-hmm. So this is a star-studded lineup. You think back to that 2016 team had 9 players make all conference?
I believe it was 9, yeah, the two teams, yeah.
And here we are 8 years later, and roles reversed, and Jefferson with 7 players, and a lot of fantastic individual performances this year for the Rams.
That's why I'm really anxious to see how this tournament plays out, because it's going to be a lot of fun. 4 evenly matched teams, 3 teams that have never won it, and 4 teams that will have to play for it.
Swing and a miss there by Silva. He strikes out. 1 away here in the bottom of the second.
Let me tell you how old habits die hard. When the batter swung and missed that pitch, I went to record the strikeout on my laptop, and then realized that I'm not doing stats.
There's still little things I do, even watching games.
Yeah.
And that will bring the DH, Espinal, to the plate.
But again, you saw the difference in philosophy with the teams. No, not even a thought of a bunt there from Jefferson.
Espinal batting .323 this year, 4 home runs, 35 RBI. As I mentioned, coming into today, I read them off earlier, but some of these RBI totals, 27, 35, 52, 47, 32, 33, 50. A lot of power up and down this lineup for Pat Horvath. That pitch misses, count 1-1 to Espinal.
D2 teams currently are allowed to play 50 games in a regular season. In the Northeast, not many of them get there because of weather and other factors. So you end up, in the low to mid 40s in games. And if you're driving in 35 to 40 runs, that's a pretty good year. And I will also say RBIs are a function of opportunity. So that means guys are getting on base ahead of you. Guys are drawing walks, getting hit by pitches, getting on base, and finding ways to move along the base paths. So it's really a team effort.
1-1 the count to Espinal. That one bounced, but foul. Well, and there'll be opportunities for more games next year. Well, the 50 stays in effect because of the MCA rule, but we'll be going up to 34 to 36 conference games next year with the addition of both Georgian Court sponsoring the sport and Lincoln University coming in as an associate member to baseball next year. So it'll be a 7-team North Division, a 6-team South Division.
Georgian Court goes north.
Georgia Court will go north, so you'll have 36 games in the North Division. If you're a North Division team, 34 if you're in the South.
And I believe I read that the head coach of Georgian Court will be a former Felician assistant, Arlen Freeman.
Yes.
Very happy for him. He's already started a program in his coaching career.
At St. Elizabeth, yes. And had a very large roster there, too. So that's something that, and from what I've heard, the recruiting has gone well for Georgian Court so far. Building up their roster, getting ready for their first season.
I'm very happy for Arlen. Arlen was a very large factor in developing Jerry Vasto at Felician. Felician's only major league player who was a left-handed pitcher. Arlen was a left-hander himself, and as a pitching coach at Felician, was instrumental in Jerry's career.
2-2 the count to Espinal. Inside, throw down to second. Gets away from Hanau. Going to skirt into center field, and that will allow Lopez to move to third.
Calden got the call on the strikeout, but the throw got away, and runner on third base with 2 outs with a strikeout pitcher isn't as dangerous, but now incumbent upon Medrano to block everything. Any base hit will score the run. An interesting time for a mound visit.
You mentioned, and Chris Langen, Felician head coach, out to talk to his pitcher, Mike Calden. You mentioned earlier, Chris, along with his brother Steven, professional hitting coaches. That's what they've. But how has Chris adapted when he's got to go out in this situation, manage a pitcher? It's different because, again, every position has its own elements and specialties and stuff. But how has Chris adapted
well, I think
to
there's
that?
two things at play. One, he'll go out to the mound when it's not about a mechanic or when it's just about A, strategy, or B, just a psychological thing, settling a guy down. And B, he's a very good delegator. He's not an ego-driven coach. He's very confident and comfortable with once he hires someone and letting them do their job. So he'll lean on his assistants to manage the people that they're supposed to manage. He believes in hiring good people and letting them do their job. But stepping in, because his name is on the program when the time is right.
That brings Tiber Seo to the plate. The center fielder gets the bunt down. Oh, he placed that well, and that's going to be an RBI bunt single for Tiber Seo, scoring Lopez.
And that's the difference the throwing error made. Is now when I said any hit would score the run, including a bunt.
And I think I apologize. That was Vita, not Tiber Seo. I beg your pardon there. Vita, I beg your pardon.
Yep. And it's a great strategy coming off a mound visit. Usually you're going to see a fastball, and B, not something that usually go over in that.
So Vita with the RBI bunt single. Tiber Seo now at the plate. And Vita takes off. He's going to get down to second, no problem. As Medrano just couldn't transfer it from the glove to his throwing hand there.
I think he would have been safe anyway, but Medrano just needs to relax and let the game come to him a little bit and not try to force the issue.
That was a great jump by Vita there, off first. So 1-0 the count now to Tiber Seo.
So you're seeing in these 2 innings, you're kind of seeing the full gamut of what the Jefferson offense can do. Can hit a ball deep into the gap, can bunt, can run. You see why they've scored so many runs this year.
And I always like to call it a little 2-out magic when you can score 2 outs. That really is stealing a run
and
in a
variety
baseball
of ways,
game.
Yep. And now with the great job the post scoring staff is doing, you can see that Mike Calden's already over 30 pitches in 2 innings.
2-1 the count to Tiber Seo.
Now, I will say that from looking at Felician stats and having him seen play a couple of times, they're not afraid to go to their bullpen. I think they have one complete game all year. Like I said, they're second in the league in team ERA.
Tiber Seo this year batting .264, 1 home run, 10 RBI. Not bad for your number 9 hitter to be hitting .264.
No, not at all.
I mean, you can say metal bats all you want, but you're still going to make contact.
Yep.
You still got to put the ball in play.
Expect to see a challenge here, 3-1 to the 9-hitter.
That one in right field, however. Biolsi under it for the out. Nice job there tracking that one as that was dying there in shallow right.
Yep.
Ends the threat, but the Rams do score another. They lead it 2-1 after 2. We're going to step aside for a commercial break. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. Nine, 1, and 2 hitters due up for Felician here in the top of the third. Torres, Kendrick, and Walters. 2-1, Jefferson leads it over Felician. First game of the day here in the day 1 of the double elimination tournament. The winner of this one gets to take the rest of the day off. We'll see him back here at 11 a.m. tomorrow in the winner's bracket game. Loser of this one has to stick around. We'll see them at 4 o'clock this afternoon in an elimination game. They would face the loser of our next game between Goldie Beacom and Post. That pitch over for a called strike to Torres. 0-1 the count. Torres this year batting 186. No home runs, 3 RBIs. He was at the plate when the top of the second ended, when Biolsi was out, caught in a rundown. That pitch over for a strike.
This is a young man I'm happy to see get this opportunity because he's a fifth-year senior at Felician. He got there, during my career, and he's been a starter. He's been a reserve.
That one grounded to short. Nice job there by Silva. Throws to first in time.
We saw Torres hustling down the line. He's kind of that guy that does whatever a coaching staff asks, and he's getting this opportunity because of an injury to another player. And going to try to make the most of it on both sides of the ball. We saw him complete that line drive double play earlier in the game. Just a guy that a team needs.
And that was a nice throw over from Silva at short.
Absolutely.
Because Torres was busting it down the line there. We head back to the top of the order, and Kendrick, the left fielder, first pitch, catches the outside corner there for a called strike. Kendrick grounded out to second to lead off the game. One lifted foul over the third base bullpen, occupied by Jefferson.
As a former umpire, I can appreciate the strike zone so far. Umpire getting the reaches of both sides of the plate without hurting the hitters too much.
That one bounces in the dirt away from Lopez. No harm, though. Nobody on. So 1-2 the count now. And what is, as you're looking there at the live stats, what is Bass's pitch count here?
Started the inning at 42, so that second inning, actually after Torres is at bat, he was at 42. So that second inning really upped his count a bit.
And that was after he threw about 7 pitches in the first inning.
Yep.
That one hits Kendrick in the foot, so he's going to get a free pass down to first base. That'll bring Hayden Walters, third baseman of the plate, grounded out to third back in the first inning.
So Samuel Bass has thrown 46 pitches to obtain 7 outs. So neither starting pitcher showing signs of longevity right now, but all it would take would be one quick inning to get back on schedule, as they say.
Here's another a name. We were talking about some of the great names that we've seen from Jefferson the last 7-8 years, and it was one that who was it? LT Struble, former
listen to the broadcast, former
Felician great. So, and he gave the name Brandon Quaranta for Jefferson. He did hit a lot of home runs as a first baseman.
Another two-way players I remember as well.
Yes. That pitch in the dirt. Nice job there by Lopez to block that.
Kind of more of a relief pitcher, but
yes,
was an everyday player in the lineup, and my goodness, could he hit. And I assume if Felician continues in the tournament, I'll get more text messages from Felician alum, but LT Struble's the first to clock in, and we say hello, LT. And
swung on, lifted into left center. However, Ty Bercio under it for the out. That was a fantastic play. He kind of took off to his left for a second, kind of the way it read kind of off the bat, and then had a...
And he read it well. He got a good jump off the bat. Able to track it down. LT Struble and I serve on the Felician Athletics Hall of Fame committee together. So it's good to hear from him.
Two down here in the third, and that brings Hanau to the plate.
Maybe I just need to do this. Unfortunately, his first time at the plate didn't last very long. We were talking about Dowdy Hanau and the 3-year career he's put together at Felician.
I'm 2, so he's 1. He's 1.
Felician coach was telling me last night that Hanau has over 170 hits in his 3-year career. Takes a strike there on the outer edge.
So 1-1 the count now to Hanau. Throw over to first. So I've had Tom Shirley check in. You've had LT Struble check in. Rick Giannetti just checked in. He said you're a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Times have changed. there were times when Rick Giannetti had other names for me.
Grounded to third. Nice job to throw over to second there by Egner. And that will end the Felician threat here in the top of the third. We'll stick here, though, while we're getting ready here. You know, we talk about some of the great names we've seen from Jefferson over these last years. You know, you think about some of the great names that Felician has had, especially under Chris Lang, and we talked about Jerry Fasto. You mentioned him. You've got Andrew Lemura. You've got Brendan Price. You mentioned Jason Pulgano. I mean, it's not a surprise that we have broadcasted so many games with both of these teams in this tournament.
Correct.
Going back to, well, in Felician's case 2014, Jefferson's case 2016.
And when you say under Chris Langen, well, most of it is. This is the 25th year of the Felician program, and Chris has been the coach for 21 of them, so most of it has occurred under Chris Langen. And I know Chris goes back even further than that and gives credit to guys like the guy I mentioned earlier, Frank Quintana, and a guy that came in the year before him, Mike Ruth, who elevated the program enough to give him the opportunity to get to some of those other guys you mentioned.
The top of the order will be due up here for Jefferson. In the bottom of the third, Egner, McLean, and Josh Lopez. I've heard this from a couple people now. Here. I'm going to use this one initially while I'm trying to play with this. Use this one just because that's clear. Yeah. That's one that's coming through.
Okay.
While I try to switch back.
Okay. Justin Egner at the plate to lead off the bottom of the third. Calden goes ahead 0-2.
All right, so let's see if this sounds any better now.
Okay.
Apologize for some of the technical difficulties that we're having here, trying to get our that'll bring Chris McLean to the plate. We were adjusting this. What happened on that play there?
Egner struck out.
Egner struck out. All right. That pitch catches the outside corner for a called strike. 0-1 the count now on McLean. McLean struck out looking back in the bottom of the first. That pitch, much same location there, 0-2 the count.
And both breaking balls. So now let's see how he tries to handle this. If he just tries to throw a fastball off the plate, or if he stays with the off speed. Medrano sets up outside. Same pitch, same result.
3 pitches, 3 strikes, 1 out here.
No fastballs.
1 away there, 2 away in the inning, but an out right there for Calden. McLean strikes out, so that will bring the catcher Josh Lopez to the plate.
Catcher, 24, Josh Lopez.
True to form, Calden does have 5 strikeouts in 3 innings.
Lopez with an RBI single back in the first inning for Jefferson's first run, and then was doubled off first on that fantastic play by Torres in that inning to snag the line drive and from Wood, and then throw over to first to get Lopez. 0-1 the count to Lopez. Swung on, lifted into right field. Biolsi under it for the out, and that will do it for the Rams here in the bottom of the third. First 3 up, 3 down for Mike Calden. That's going to be a little boost there after throwing quite a good amount of pitches.
Just with the doctor order for Calden and Felician. Try to get back on their offense back.
So as you're looking at both pitchers right now, what have you seen out of the two of them? Has one settled down more than the other?
I think it's too early to tell. I mean, Calden just had a very clean inning, and Bass has been, 2 clean innings and 1 very long one that's pushed his pitch kind of looks like the 51 pitches. Bass has also had to make a lot of throwovers as the Felician runners have danced off first base, so difficult to tell what direction it's going to go. Felician's got more of a pesky lineup, but the power threats are coming up this inning.
The Reminder, fans, stick around after the game. We will have a post-game show. We'll run down the final numbers from this game, set the table for our second game between Post and Goldie Beacom. Second game slated to begin at 1 p.m. approximately, so probably looking at about a half hour following the conclusion of this game. Then we got the game at 4 o'clock today, the elimination game. 4, 5, 6 batters due up here for Felician in the top of the fourth. Voss, Skirvinick, and DeAngelis. They were the ones that got it going back in the second inning and helped lead to Felician's run. Golden Falcons trail 2-1 here. First pitch to Voss. Swings away, and that one is going to drop in there, and that is a double for Voss. So once again, Voss helping to set the table here, leading off an inning.
Voss led off, I believe, 2 innings ago with a single, and you saw Skrivenik try to bunt. Let's see how Felician plays it this time around with him on second base already.
There was another one there, Ty Bercio, and just like we saw in the last inning, kind of froze him off the bat initially, and then there is some wind here. You can, as you can see, the trees just beyond in left center, and Skrivenik gets another bunt down. He's going to...
This time he gets it down, yep. But again, you're seeing the difference in offensive philosophies between the two teams. One playing for the big inning, one looking to get a run at a time.
But it looks like the wind's playing some havoc out there today with the outfielder. I mean, they've been able to handle it pretty well for the most part, but you can tell it's definitely freezing them coming off the bat.
Well, that ball was crushed, too. I mean, he just made a nice play the previous inning on a differently hit ball.
So that will bring DeAngelis to the plate. DeAngelis with an RBI single.
And you got a situation here where the squeeze is not out of play.
He had an RBI single back in the second inning, bringing home Voss. Has a chance to do it once again here. 1-0 the count to DeAngelis. One away, a runner at third here in the top of the fourth. Felician trying to knot the score up here once again. Want to know the count. Throw over to third, Voss back.
Interesting play there. The straight pick off at third base.
I'll tell you, Voss, he's a big guy. First baseman, big guy, but he has some deceptive speed. We saw the stolen base a couple innings ago. We saw him get the, motor. He's got some deceptive speed. A pretty good-looking player there.
Nice all-around player for Felician in his first year at Felician. Yes, we do.
Swing and a miss there by DeAngelis. 2-1 the count.
99 and 21.
Sun trying to peek through some clouds rolling through here. We're going to have some cloud cover throughout the day.
We also appreciate the fans that are writing in helping us with our troubleshooting. We're told it's much better now, so
3-1 to count.
Hopefully rectify whatever was going on.
Well, we know we have people listening to us.
And that's the other part, yeah. I'm not sure if you recognize that last name, but we just talked about her son. That was Brennan Price's mother.
Okay.
So that's the other part. That's the other part about Felician is that they have a great alumni network of people that still follow the program, and that's also, I believe, a function of the Langen brothers.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Brennan just retire last summer? He's not playing independent ball anymore, is he? Did he just
I would have to check. Maybe Kathleen will tell us. But last year he was still playing in the Frontier League.
Okay. 3-2 the count. Lifted into left field.
This will be interesting.
Lopez under it, throws home. Voss. Throw cut off, so Voss easily able to get home for the tying run.
They'll check at third, but he did. I agree with the safe call. He did leave on time. And since the third base umpire was going for the catch, no catch, that is indeed the home plate umpire's call.
So 2 RBIs now for DeAngelis and 2 runs scored for Voss. 2-2 the score. That brings Medrano, the catcher, to the plate. Takes a first pitch strike from Bass. As you were saying, we've had people checking in, so we definitely know that this is not Bob Uecker in Major League where he said nobody's listening anyways.
Yeah.
We know we have listeners. 1-1 the count to Medrano. Pitch just misses inside.
And as I've said, I'm not a broadcaster. I'm trying to learn the trade after years of being a print guy, so it could be Some human error as well, too.
Two and one the count. Bounced foul. Egner went over and snagged it, but in foul ground. Brennan Price did retire, yes. Had a check in there from LT Struble. I thought I remember that last year, whether it was Commissioner Dan Mara had mentioned it, that he saw it, or that one lined into center field for a 2-out base hit for Medrano. He was one of those many players on that 2016 team that earned all conference honors on the way to Felician winning the championship that year, and he earned all conference honors several years.
Brennan Price,
well,
yeah.
Yes.
One of the few to make it all 4, I believe.
Swung on, lifted into left center. That's going to get up against the wall.
Let's see if Medrano can make it all the way around.
Medrano, he rounds third. No throw home, a 2-out RBI double for Biolsi.
And we talked about the Felician lineup. Maybe it doesn't have the power of Jefferson, but they're pesky. And they can do a lot of this. A lot of disruption, a lot of 2-out hits, a lot of getting a pitcher out of a rhythm.
3-2 Felician. As we mentioned, this is a tough program. You've got to be a tough player to play at Felician, and they showed it last year in a lot of important situations, especially on that championship Saturday against Post. And here they are coming up with a little bit of 2-out magic here to right now take the go-ahead run. 1-0 the count to Torres.
And then whenever this inning ends, we'll see how Calder responds after he just had a clean inning the inning before, and now he's been given the lead.
Good complementary baseball, isn't it? You get a quick 1-2-3 inning, then your offense scratches out a couple runs, and now can your pitcher, can he get back to the dugout fast here, the bottom half of this inning when he eventually comes out. 1-2 the count now on Torres. Pitch misses low and outside. 3-1 the count. So once again, the 4, 5, 6 hitters for Felician, they led off the second, they led off the fourth here, and they've helped set the table for 3 runs. Felician has scored here so far, 1 in the second, now 2 here in the fourth, and Torres strikes out looking there as Bass was able to freeze him. But the Golden Falcons scored twice. They lead at 3-2. We head to the bottom of the fourth. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. Welcome back to Municipal Stadium here in Waterbury, Connecticut. We head to the bottom of the fourth. 3-2 Felician over Jefferson. The 4, 5, 6 hitters due up for the Rams here in the bottom half of the fourth. Reminder, fans, you can visit the 2024 CACC Baseball Championship Central website. That is at caccathletics.org. You can go to the baseball page, click on Championship Central in the navigation bar, and you have updated scores, box scores, links to watch all the various broadcasts. There's also an online store where you can purchase apparel. So go there today. Go to caccathletics.org. Go to the baseball page, click on Championship Central in the navigation bar, and you will be able to stay up to date with all things the 2024 CACC Baseball Championship. Wood, Joshua Lopez, and Silva due up here for the Rams in the fourth. Marquise Wood, the right fielder, first team all CACC. Hit into a double play back in the bottom of the first inning where he lined out to second, and Torres, the Felician second baseman, was able to throw on to first to retire Josh Lopez. He was caught leading off the bag there. So first pitch, a strike to Wood. That pitch misses. Count 1-1. Called in with a quick 1-2-3 bottom of the third. Can he get one here again after his teammates spot him a one-run lead, scoring twice in the top half of this frame? Big cut there and a miss by Wood. Count even at 2-2. That pitch just narrowly misses catching Wood. Count runs full on Wood. 3-2 the count. Pitch misses outside. Wood draws a leadoff walk here in the fourth.
Now batting, left fielder, number 1, Joshua Lopez.
Ends a streak of 4 straight hitters retired by Calden. And now has some work to do here as he issues the leadoff walk to Wood, and that will bring the left fielder Joshua Lopez to the plate. Singled back in the bottom of the second, stole second, and then came around to score. And at that time had given Jefferson the 2-1 lead. Throw over to first. Lopez, all CACC this season, one of 7 Rams to earn all conference honors. Head coach Pat Horvath named Coach of the Year. Wood down to second, throw not in time, a stolen base for Marquise Wood. And that puts a runner in scoring position for the Rams here in the fourth with nobody out. And that pitch was a strike to Lopez, so he's behind 0-1. So a leadoff walk here as Mark Mentone rejoins us. Leadoff walk and now a stolen base for Marquise Wood. And Jefferson has something going here already in the bottom of the fourth.
Yeah, we talked in the top of the inning about how would Calden react once he was given the lead, and a leadoff walk is obviously not what Chris Langen and the Felician staff are looking for.
That pitch catches the outside corner. Another breaking ball there.
Yeah.
He's been able to get those on the outside corner here so far today. And get the call.
Like I said, I talked to Felician pitching coach Frank Colazzo last night. Asked him, about what percent of fastballs is Mike throwing? He said about 60, I would estimate. I don't think it's been that today.
0-2 the count.
Runner goes.
That one lined through the left side, base hit. Wood nearly ran into the third base coach. Not to worry, though. RBI single for Joshua Lopez, and we are tied at 3.
Excellent job by Lopez hitting the ball through the vacated hole. And the runner had to evade his own third base coach, but they made it work.
And that brings Silva, the shortstop, to the plate. So still nobody out. Runner at first. We are now tied at 3. So Calden, who was hoping for maybe another 1-2-3 inning like he had back in the third, not getting that here so far.
And that's why when you
Back
asked,
to the board.
I'm so sorry,
Oh,
Doug.
not a problem.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story about that in a second. But that's why when you asked me, what do you feel from either pitcher? Has either pitcher settled in? And I wasn't really ready to commit to that, and this is why. They just hadn't showed signs of consistency. And I think the hitters have a lot to do with that on both sides.
Lopez takes off down to second. Throw, though, in time. Had a little bit of a slow break. It looked like off the first base bag, but Medrano able to pop out of his stance and get a nice throw down.
He got a good pitch to throw on, and he really needed that because the Rams were accelerating their running game.
Yeah, big out there. Little confidence boost, too.
So
Especially if later on in the inning or game if they keep trying.
And I just did it again because the story I want to tell you is the AD at Felician for my 15 of my 16 years there was J.R. Denal, and he's also an accomplished broadcaster. He has worked several Central Atlantic Collegiate Conference events. And I talked to him the other day to get some advice for this tournament. And the first thing he said was just relax and talk about baseball. But the second thing he said, and I've caught myself doing it, is wait till Doug's done talking.
We're going to do a punch in the arm. When I punch in the arm is when you can.
So I'm thinking of JR right now, and JR is actually in West Virginia. He's still the Felician men's golf coach, and he has a golfer in the NCAA regional.
Yeah, and Silva strikes out looking there, called and able to freeze him. But yes, a nice problem for JR to have that he can't be listening in right now because he's got Pablo Hidalgo at the NCAA regional. Second year in a row that Hidalgo makes it as an individual. One of the better, more fantastic players.
Great feather in the cap of the Felician program, absolutely.
And that brings the designated hitter Espinal to the plate. Espinal struck out looking back in the second inning. Best of luck. 5 of the CACC 7 golf programs represented at this week's regional tournament down in West Virginia. You've got Post, Goldie Beacom, Dominican. There is teams. And then you've got Pablo representing Felician as an individual. And then a couple Wilmington players there making it. Tyler Cleaves and Pablo Quintero making it for the Wildcats. That one grounded to short. And now up with it, throws on to first, and that will do it for Jefferson in the bottom of the fourth. But the Rams do get a run. They tie it at 3. We're going to step aside for a brief commercial break. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. We head to the top of the fifth, 3-3, Felician and Jefferson. 1-2-3 hitters due up for the Golden Falcons here in the fifth. We were just talking off air. Stephen Langen, the third base coach, and Chris Langen's brother, arrived later today. He's coming up from Florida, so he just got here. He'll man the third base bag here now at rest of the game here for the Golden Falcons. But pretty good brother combination. They've really worked well together over the year.
Yep, they're twins, and Steve has been a big part of what Chris has accomplished here in many ways, not just in the coaching aspect, but just in advice and in donating to the program and just many ways that go unsung. And when Felician won the tournament last year, I was just more happy for Steven than anything else because Steve wasn't on the coaching staff for the first 2 championships. He had to step away to kind of work on his business. So he was the guy I was most happy for when that happened last year.
So Kendrick, the left fielder, due up here and leading off for Felician here in the top of the fifth. 3-3 our score. Rounded back through the middle. Oh, nice stab there by Silva. Not going to get Kendrick at first. Although I thought that was going right through the middle there. Great job by Silva. Just
absolutely great play and absolutely an example of why you busted out of the box and run down the baseline.
That'll bring Hayden Walters to the plate, the third baseman. Walters today 0 for 2, grounded out to third back in the first and flew out to center in the third.
While that mound visit was going on, I was looking at the regional rankings, and I see that Jefferson is second, and that's so they've got a lot to play for in this tournament too, because with the current setup of the regional tournament, if they've put in to do so, Jefferson could be in a position to host one of the regionals.
That they could, and they've got the on-campus facility.
Okay.
Not a lot of seating. That's maybe one of the tougher issues that they've got, but that one bunt laid down by Walters, and that does the job. That gets Kendrick up to second.
And this is somewhere else again where Chris Langen has adapted to the personnel he's had. This is not something that he's done earlier in his career where he's bunted early in games and moved runners. He's doesn't have the thumping lineups he's had in the past, and this is how he's played it the last couple of years with the lineups he's had, and this is the philosophy he's adopted, and he's stuck with it. And he's got guys that can put down bunts.
And that'll bring Hanau, the shortstop, to the plate. First pitch, nice job there by Lopez to block it.
You mentioned earlier how he's not just a slugger, he's a pretty good catcher too.
And he's been busy today behind the plate.
Bass testing him, but that's part of the repertoire.
Bass trying to get those guys to swing and miss and, offer up earlier. It's some off-speed stuff. 1-0 the count. That pitch also low. Lopez having to once again drop to his knees there to block that one. So 2-0 the count. So one away, a runner at second. That one into center. Ty Bercio under it for the out. 2 away, and Kendrick remains at second.
Now batting, first baseman, number 38, Ricky Voss.
So that'll bring Ricky Voss to the plate. 2 down, a runner at second for Felician here in the top of the 5th. Voss, 2 for 2 today. Singled, stole a base, and came around to score on the DeAngelis RBI single back in the 2nd inning. And then led off the last inning, the 4th, with a double. Moved up to 3rd on the sacrifice bunt, then came around to score on the RBI sac fly from DeAngelis.
And Ty Barico's a name you've said a lot today, and he got another good jump on that ball. He's reading the ball well off the bat.
Skirvinick now at the plate. So 2 down, runners at first and second.
We talked about earlier the importance of 2 out hits. It's an opportunity for Felician to pick up a run with 2 outs with just a single.
2-0 the count. That pitch gets in there for a called strike.
And this game, everything we've asked so far. Back and forth.
Seen some good pitches, seen some good situational hitting. Seen aggressiveness on the base paths just like now. That one is going to get to the warning track there in left field. This is going to bring home 2, and it is now 5-3 Felician. 2 out, 2-run double for Skirvinick.
Back and forth we go again. Felician captures the lead, a 2-run lead this time, and once again we'll see how Calden responds. But before that happens, Felician hoping to tack on again with the runner on second.
So Voss has swung on there by DeAngelis, lifted into shallow left. Joshua Lopez under it for the out, and that will do it for Felician. But the Golden Falcons, once again with a little bit of two-out magic there. 2-run double by Skirvinick. And Voss now has reached base all 3 times today and has scored each time he has reached. So good trendsetter right there for Felician so far. But the Golden Falcons lead at 5-3. Now here's something interesting we talked about last inning when they took the 3-2 lead. And we were wondering if Calden could maybe come in and shut it down, maybe stabilize things a little bit, but Jefferson came back. It's going to be interesting. I think this first batter here that Calden faces is going to be kind of a nice telltale sign maybe how this, maybe how this inning goes. Because as you said right before that 2-run double, this has been a game that we've asked for. There's been a lot of really good situational play right now by both teams.
And we're only halfway through it. So there's a lot of game left, a lot of exciting situations left to go, especially with both starting pitchers having high pitch counts. It seems like both teams are very comfortable going to their bullpen. So there's a lot of situations yet to come.
So the 8-9-1 hitters due up for Jefferson here in the bottom of the 5th. Vita, Tibercio, and Egner. Vita with an RBI single back in the 2nd inning. Has only played a plate appearance today. First pitch coming from Calden to Vita here in the bottom of the 5th. That one clips the outside corner for a called strike.
Again, I think the umpire's done a great job. He's liberal on both corners, both ways. Kept the pitchers and the hitters in the game.
Peel down to first, and the first base umpire does bring that up a strike, so 0-2, so Calden quickly gets ahead of Vita. But yeah, Calden today really on that outside corner, especially against righties, has done a nice job. That one fisted.
Great job by Vita not leaving it up to the umpire, fighting that off.
You could tell a little bit there at the last second. It was better to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
And strikeout there for Calden. Vita not happy, but does get an explanation there from the umpire.
And you've said it. Away, away, away. Obviously the approach that the Golden Falcons want to take. It's not by accident.
Tibercio now at the plate. Flew out to right back in the 2nd inning.
Madrano sets up away again.
That one takes a high bounce to the backstop. 1-0 the count. That pitch. Ooh.
Probably up.
Oh, yeah.
Looked up.
Looked right over the plate, but yeah, must have nicked those Jefferson lettering there on the uniform. So 2-0 the count. Fouled off towards the grandstand side. 2-1. Calden, the CACC Pitcher of the Year, first team all-conference pitcher. We're going to see a lot of good pitchers today. We're going to see, most likely got to imagine we're going to see either Joe Christiana or Brendan Holligan for post coming up in the next game. That pitch in there for a called strike count, even at 2-2. Assuming Justin Jump is going for Goldie Beacom, another all-conference pitcher. So, going to see some great hurlers go at it here today.
And that's the great part of this tournament is you see the talent and then you see the depth later on in the double elimination format.
That pitch just misses inside. Count runs full to Ty Bercio. You mentioned another name earlier. We were talking about starters, but relievers. You mentioned Logan Waltz earlier for Felician during the broadcast. Didn't get all conference this year, but did last year. So another one of those arms that Chris Langen can go to in the bullpen later on.
And that's the interesting part about this tournament too, is that it becomes a way for guys to get, self-imposed retribution. Guys that think they got snubbed get this tournament to get a chance to show what they can do. It's another reason I've always loved this tournament. Because the all-conference team comes out before it.
That's why I've always said the only individual award that really matters is the MVP of the tournament. Because if you win that, your team has won the championship. That's the most important one, I always say.
And that's what the coaches try to convey. Sometimes in a team sport with individual battles in the middle of it, it's hard to keep kids focused on that.
3-2 pitch. That pitch misses low and away, and Ty Bercio draws a one-out walk here in the fifth.
And to further that point, especially in modern times where every box score is on a website as soon as the game's over, and then the cumulative stats update as soon as that happens. It's sometimes tough to keep kids focused on what really matters.
Oh, even in today's day and age, cumulative stats update as the game's going on.
Correct. Correct. But again, that's where coaching comes in to keep kids focused on, the team goals.
Back to the top of the order for the Rams, and Egner, the third baseman. One out, runner at first here for Jefferson in the fifth. Egner with a double back in the first inning, led off the bottom of the first inning for the Rams. Came around to score, struck out back in the third inning. Throw over to first. Ty Bercio back in time. Pitch away. 1-1 the count. Like a pitch out there just in case.
Like a hybrid one, yeah.
Yeah. Thinking if maybe Ty Bercio watching him at first, seeing if he'll take off.
Wasn't a complete pitch out, but it would have given Medrano an easy pitch to throw on.
Ty Bercio has speed. We've already seen it today out in the outfield a few times. Takes a good lead there. Doesn't head down.
And Jefferson has looked to put pressure on the Felician defense today.
2-1 the count. So it's obvious there's something they've seen with Medrano's game that they think that they can run on him today.
The combination, I think. Again, I'm stereotyping here, but a lot of times power pitchers don't hold runners well. So something they see in the combination, yeah.
And why is it the power pitchers do not hold runners well? You would think sometimes with the fastball, you're getting it to the plate faster. It gives time for the catcher to throw.
I think because they're used to striking guys out. They give up fewer hits, all that kind of thing.
That's the fascinating thing about this game, isn't it?
It's, things that become true over the years, and then the guys that break those molds.
2-1 the count to Egner. One out. Runner at first. That is Ty Bercio. Had the one-out walk. So after the visit, big swing and a miss there by Egner. Nice pitch there by Calden.
Down in the zone.
So the count even at 2-2. Calden trying to get Egner here. Throw over to first.
And you have to wonder if they're, even though it's still early in the game, if the 2-run deficit is keeping the runner at first base, where he would have taken off by now if it was only a 1-run game.
That one lined into right field
Got a chance
for
at
a base hit.
Had a chance for the force at second base. That was an interesting play. You see that more in softball on the smaller diamond.
Well, Ty Bercio did have to hold up there for a second
Yep.
in case Torres was able to snag that, but just beyond his reach. But there again, the speed by Ty Bercio able to give him that opportunity to get to second and avoid being thrown out, as you said, on the force out.
Pat Horvath having a conversation with the home plate umpire, not sure what it's about. Seems amicable and broken up pretty quickly, but no idea what it's about.
Pat Horvath, the CACC Coach of the Year. Back in his first season as head coach for Jefferson, only single-digit wins.
Is that right?
But slowly over time, built him up, got him into the championship back in 2016. They didn't win it, but they got to that final day against Felician. That pitch misses low. Got to the championship final in 2021. That was won by Rick Gianetti's squad, Dominican, and that was a similar game like this, back and forth, both teams getting big situational hits at big moments, executing pitches when they needed to. And Jefferson just denied that day. That was at home because that was a year where it was all single elimination because it was still coming out of the COVID
That's right.
era. And it's 2-0 now to McLean. But this, what a fantastic team he's put together this year, and currently number 2 in the East Region rankings. 2-0 the count to McLean, the All-CACC first baseman for Horvath's Rams this year. Big swing and a miss there. Count now 2-1. 1 out, runners at first and second for the Rams. That is Ty Bercio at second, drew the 1-out walk, and then moved up to second on the single just a few moments ago from Egner. Swung on, lifted, and that will go foul. Just about 5 or 6 feet foul there.
I'm taking your word for it.
Bielsi for Felician. He went over there. He made sure just in case. That's been another thing I've always remembered about Chris Langen's teams. His outfielders have been able to cover ground. Ones that have been able to make plays out there. So
I think some of that was a function of the field that we played at for a number of years. We played at the Lyndhurst Recreation Complex, which was because they had to put the fence on a path. They couldn't put it on the turf itself. All the dimensions in the outfield were more than 400 feet, except for down the lines, and there was a lot of room out there. And he recruited, kids that were athletic and could cover it.
One grounded back through the middle, base hit. This will score a run. Ty Bercio able to come home 5-4. The Rams now trailed by just 1 RBI single for McLean.
Punch, counter punch.
That will bring Josh Lopez to the plate. Lopez with an RBI single back in the first inning and then flew out to right in the third.
Big matchup in the game right here. Only the 5th inning, but One of the best power hitters in the league against the pitcher of the year with 2 men on. Calden stays away again and misses. Big spot in the game.
Pitch blocked in the dirt there by Medrano.
And again, with a hitter this accomplished, sometimes the thought process, there's a base open, third base. Don't have to pitch to him.
2-0 the count. Swing and a miss there by Lopez. 2-1 the count.
And you saw Lopez bow to the umpire. That was a ball, and the umpire nodded yes. So break for Calden. We'll see how he handles it.
Swing and a miss there by Lopez. Taking a couple healthy cuts there the last 2 swings.
That one looked to be in the strike zone. Again, Lopez looked like he was verifying with the umpire.
2-2 the count.
Obviously, Lopez being the catcher, you build up that relationship over inning after inning. Good fastball there by Calden. We'll see what he comes back with 2-2.
Swing and a miss. Big strikeout there for Calden. You could see a little animation there on his part. He knew he needed that one.
Good internal battle in this game, won by Calden. Great pitching, great matchup. 3 healthy cuts by Lopez.
That's an interesting point you made about how Lopez was able to talk with the home plate umpire there. And as you said, over the course of the game, able to kind of build up that rapport. Is the catcher the only one that can really
I think so.
have as in-depth conversation as that pitch catches the outside corner?
I'm also interested to see how Calden comes back, because now there can't be a letdown with 2 outs. But to answer your question, yeah, I think so, just because of the proximity and where you are and working with them all game, protecting each other.
Marquise Wood at the plate. Led off with a walk back in the 4th inning, stole second, came around to score on the RBI single from Joshua Lopez. Run across here for the Rams already here in the bottom of the 5th to get within a run at 5-4. Count 1-1 now to Wood.
And I think as long as humans are still allowed to call balls and strikes, and who knows how long that'll be, I think those relationships will continue to be important and be important for catchers to build them game to game.
1-1 pitch coming from Calden. That pitch just misses outside. 2-1 the count. Another thing I've always enjoyed about watching baseball is that, let's say the catcher gets dinged or something, and the home plate umpire always very courteous and going to get a new, handful of baseballs, or
just
takes
one of
some
them.
extra time to brush off the plate. Or if the home plate umpire gets nicked, the catcher always will take a little stroll out to the pitcher's mound to buy a little bit of time. Always just very courteous by both sides. Throw down to first. Voss lost where it was at. That's going to allow Egner to move up to third.
Interesting interplay there on the 1-1 pitch. Ball was off the outside edge, and Calden didn't get the call, and he kind of mouthed something a little bit and then turned around to kind of collect his thoughts, and then threw a pitch in a similar spot, got the call on that one.
2-2.
So 2-2.
2-2 the count.
Interesting spot in the game right now. Now with runners on the corners.
So runners at first and third. 2 away, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Wood. And that pitch misses. Count runs full on Wood.
That pitch did appear to be in the batter's box, but Calden really testing the home plate umpire on the outer edge, either right on or right off. Fascinating right now. 3-2 pitch releases the runner at first, which would be the go-ahead run.
And a big strikeout for Calden, and he shows it. Escapes the jam with minimal damage, so Felician takes a 5-4 lead here going into the 6th inning. And I mentioned earlier that earlier in the inning on that one pitch, that strikeout, he showed a little bit of emotion, but he showed
it all came out there.
Yeah, that was a big moment for him. So
And as I'm sorry, Doug.
I was going to say, so 5-4 here heading into the top of the 6th. Now the scoreboard shows only one hit for Felician. I think
it's supposed to be a 7 and the lights out.
Yeah, very well too.
Because the live stats say 7.
Yeah, that's what I had in the scorebook here. And so it's 5 runs on 7 hits, 1 error for Felician through 5. Jefferson 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors. Felician with a run in the 2nd, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. Jefferson a run each in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th innings. So just kind of giving a brief recap here. And didn't mean to cut you off there, Mark. What were you going to say?
What was I going to say? Oh, just how both teams, just a senior moment there, just how both teams, we talked about, are very comfortable going to their bullpen, so the pitchers are kind of letting it all hang out right now. They're not afraid to max out.
7, 8, 9 hitters due up for Felician here in the top of the 6th. Medrano leading off. That first pitch, a ball to Medrano. So Samuel Bass still on the mound here. Second team all CACC starting pitcher. Had a rather efficient first inning. Retired the side on only 7 pitches. Third inning was also, the exception of a hit by a pitch, only threw about 13, 14 pitches that inning. But it's been a little bit of a struggle here these last 2 innings, giving up a pair of runs each in the 4th and 5th innings, and it's now a 2-2 count.
Yep, Lopez tried to sell that to the umpire, nothing doing. And then again, it looked like it was in the batter's box.
Pitch framing, that's the phrase that you've heard so much for how many years now in baseball, the new phrase. That one, bounce foul, 2-2 the count.
And I did some umpiring in my younger days, and it's just a matter of, not being able to call a pitch a strike without, the bench is getting on you too much, and, you want to be able to call strikes.
3-2 the count now on Medrano.
In the old days, you want to be able to call pitches that were maybe slightly ball strikes too, but you can't really get away with that anymore with the cameras. Especially with me when I was doing high school games, and, you wanted to give the pitchers a little bit more because it was just good game management to keep games moving and batters swinging, but there's too many cameras nowadays. And people think you're cheating.
Medrano grounded out to second back in the 2nd inning. Then in the 4th, singled and came around to score. And that one into center field for a base hit. So a leadoff single for Medrano here in the 6th. So 2 for 3 now today with a pair of singles.
Felician getting the leadoff man on a high percentage of the time.
Yes, in the 2nd inning, the 4th inning.
Both of those Voss, I believe.
5th inning, and now this. So, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
And again, we'll see how Felician chooses to play it.
And that will bring Bielsi to the plate.
All game long, they've chosen to try to move that runner with the bunt. We'll see what happens here. Doesn't show it.
So 1-0 the count now to Bielsi.
Now you've got a catcher on first base, but is he a stereotypical catcher that can't run, or does he have a little speed? I'm not really sure. But Bielsi has not showed the bunt. First time this game, Felician's gotten the leadoff man on and not shown bunt. At least not yet.
That pitch misses inside. 2-1 the count. Winner of this one gets to take the rest of the day off. We'll see him back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. in the winner's bracket game. Loser of this has to stick around for the 4 p.m. game today, an elimination game. The count now even at 2-2. One on, nobody out here. Top of the 6th, 5-4 Felician. Golden Falcons at the plate. And that is a strikeout there for Bass. Big strikeout.
Nice pitch. Late bite.
And that'll bring Torres to the plate. Torres 0 for 2 today. Grounded out to short back in the 3rd. Struck out looking in the 4th.
Yeah, the ground out was an excellent play by Silva. Nipped Torres at first.
Throw over to first. Ooh. It was a close one there. That was a nice low throw there by Bass and quick tag applied there by McLean.
And again, with the leadoff runners getting on so often, Bass has had a lot of throwovers today, in addition to all the pitches he's thrown.
Pitch misses outside. 1-0 the count. Yes, he's definitely had more throwovers today than Colvin has.
Mm-hmm.
That pitch catches the outside corner for a called strike. Count even at 1-1. Well, as you said, home plate umpire, being liberal for both sides and keeping, I think, a nice flow to the game.
Yeah, that one was borderline. He's been pitcher friendly, and pitcher got the call.
Pitch misses outside. 2-1 the count.
But again, not egregiously, just on the ones that are, could go either way. Most of them have gone to the pitcher.
Oh, and you've said a few times today, just the flow of this game, how it's gone, too. Even without talking about the home plate umpire.
Yeah.
It has lent itself to it. Medrano takes off for second. Throw down, not in time. Stolen base for Medrano.
Score one for the catching fraternity.
Now, was that a ball or a strike there? But, in fact, the home plate umpire is calling down.
They just checked the swing. That's what it was.
Swing. So the count now 2-1. 3-1, beg your pardon. 3-1. Pitch misses low, and Torres reaches for the first time today.
And that's a tough one for Bass, and that'll elicit a mound visit.
That is a tough one just based on because you just gave up the stolen base, and now you put runners at first and second, only one out.
And I sung the praises of Alex Torres before, but he's not a guy that's shown me one of the more dangerous hitters in the lineup, and you give him a free pass, you can just circle that Felician lineup again.
All right, so we're going to have a pitching change here. We will... Samuel Bass talking with the home plate umpire as he steps off the mound, walks off the field. Nothing malicious there or anything. He was kind of smiling. And they applying kind of the pitch call sheet to his arm. I can't see who the reliever is.
Not even just an extra word, yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned the name earlier in the broadcast, Abraham Almonte. He's actually the Jefferson pitching coach, and I've heard nothing but good things about the job he's done with their staff and teaching them not just the mechanics, but then approach to pitching.
Number 56, Sean Morgan, the junior lefty from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, on the mound now for the Rams. So 5 1/3 innings of work for Samuel Bass today. And Morgan inherits 1 out, runners at first and second here in the top of the 6th. Let's get you Morgan's numbers. Morgan this year, 12 appearances, 8 starts, 3-3 on the year, a 6.21 ERA, 42 innings pitched, 47 hits given up, 36 runs allowed, only 29 earned, 40 strikeouts to 26 walks, a 1.74 whip for Morgan this year. So he's got some work to do here. He inherits runners at first and second, only 1 out. Here in the 6th, Jefferson trailing 5-4. It's either limit the potential damage of this inning or keep it at a run. It's a tall ask here for Morgan coming in here in the 6th inning. So now if you're Felician, you've chased the starter, you've got a reliever in, who's got some extensive work as we read off the numbers. What's your approach here on this one? What do you try to do as you're trying to build onto a lead?
I mean, the thought was always been if you haven't seen a guy before, you look at a pitch, but that's changing as hitters become more aggressive, strikeouts become more accepted. But my school of thought was always if you haven't seen a guy, try to look at a pitch. Now that also may change because you're ahead in the game, so you're not trying to take the lead. You're already ahead, so you're in a kind of a situation where you're trying to build. And Kendrick's a leadoff type batter anyway, so I like to think he's naturally patient.
Head back to the top of the order for Felician and the left fielder Kendrick. Singled, came around and scored back in the 5th inning. First pitch over for a called strike. He has reached base twice today, hit by a pitch back in the 3rd inning. As we mentioned, Singold came around to score in the 5th. Grounded out to second back in the 1st. So that pitch count now even 1-1 to Kendrick. Morgan this year, this is his 13th appearance. 3-3 on the year. Grounded down the 3rd base line. That's fair. This is going to bring 1 home. And that will put runners at 2nd and 3rd, still with only 1 out. It's now 6-4 Felician. Medrano comes home to score.
Exactly what Felician needed. Not only do you extend your lead, but now you can get another run without a base hit.
Torres moves up to 3rd on that double. Brings Hayden Walters, the 3rd baseman, to the plate.
Kendrick and Walters were both young men we saw in this tournament last year as freshmen. Played just about every game for 2 years, and now they're very experienced sophomores. Ready to take on leadership roles, and Kendrick with the big hit there. Walters looking to add to it.
Time called by the home plate umpire. It's like Lopez got some dirt in his eye there. Walters grounded out to 3rd back in the 1st, flew out to center in the 3rd, and then back in the 5th inning after Kendrick got the leadoff single, Walters was able to lay down the sacrifice bunt, get him to 2nd, and eventually Kendrick was able to come around to score. So a chance for for Walters to do some more damage here. And as you said, with only one out, you don't need a base hit here to score another run. One run across here in the sixth. 6-4 Felician over Jefferson. 2-0 the count now to Walters. Pair of runners in scoring position for the Golden Falcons. Kendrick at second and Torres at third. Pitch right over the plate, just below the letters. 2-1 the count. Nice pitch there by Morgan. Fouled off. Nice job there by Walters just to lunge out over the plate and get that off the end of the bat. And 2-2 the count. As mentioned, coming up next, approximately 1 p.m. It'll mainly be a half hour following the conclusion of this one. It will be North number 1 Post taking on South number 2 Goldie Beacom. That pitch misses low and away. Count runs full on Walters. Goldie Beacom currently 4th in the latest NCAA Division II East Region rankings. Post 5th. And in this one, Jefferson 2nd in the East. Felician 9th in the East. So 4 regionally ranked teams here at this final site. That one bounced. McLean goes back to first, able to get Walters, but Torres able to come in and score on the play. 7-4 now, Felician.
Great base running by Alex Torres. Read the ground ball, saw it was a high chopper. There wasn't going to be a play at the plate if he took off right away, and he scores on the ground ball. Wasn't forced, but read the ground ball and scored. Walters on a 3-2 pitch that was probably too close to take, hit a topper, and Felician extends the lead again.
And now at the plate for Felician.
We'll see how Jefferson handles this, because this is Felician's most consistent hitter, has been for 3 years. Don't have to pitch to him. But this early in the game means you're just adding another base runner.
Swing and a miss there by Hanau. Hanau grounded out to short back in the first inning. Hit into a 5-4 force out in the third and then flew out to center in the fifth. 1-1 the count on Hanau. Swung on, lifted. That's going to stay in the infield there. Silva under it for the out. But third straight inning where the Golden Falcons plate a pair. And they now lead it 7-4 as we head to the bottom of the sixth. Going to step aside for a commercial break. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. We head to the bottom of the sixth, 7-4 Felician over Jefferson. the Joshua Lopez, Silva, and Espinal leading off here, the sixth. That one is going to be dropped into left field for a base hit, leadoff single for Joshua Lopez.
And here come the Rams.
Yeah, this lineup does not stop.
No.
You cannot take a breather on this one. What did we mention earlier? Ty Bercio this year for Jefferson, coming into today, was batting .264. Your number 9 hitter is batting .264. That's a lot of pressure to put on a starting pitcher.
Right.
And brings Gabe Silva, the shortstop, to the plate. Silva today, a pair of strikeouts. But Lopez now has singled all 3 times here in his plate appearances today. Scored a run in the second. Stole second back in the fourth. See what he can do here. Count. Quickly he goes 0-2 in favor of Calden, the Felician pitcher, the CACC pitcher of the year.
And where we are now in the game starts to underscore the difference between 7-inning games and 9-inning games. And, of course, all these playoff games are 9-inning games. But if this was a 7-inning game, Felician may have a closer-type reliever warming up. And Jefferson would feel a lot more pressure to score now and not have to try to maybe build a run an inning. It's really a different game at the college level where you play 7 as opposed to 9.
Pitch. This is inside.
Yeah, I think Calden was looking for that pitch because the batter ducked, but I do think it was inside, not high.
2-2 the count.
Yeah, the softball doesn't want to break. They're just doing the cameras and zooming in on the plays and doing that sort of thing. Stop.
Foul to over towards the first base grandstand side. Count remains 2-2 on Silva. First team all CACC utility pitcher this year. That pitch in there for a called third strike. Silva, trifecta here. 3 strikeouts today.
Well, we've talked about both of those things, both that Calden has lived on the outer edge and that the umpire has called it. Both things that just happened are consistent with what's been going on all game. Calden's found a spot he could go to for a defendable strike, and the umpire called it.
And that brings the designated hitter Espinal to the plate 0-2 today. Struck out in the second, grounded out to short back in the fourth. So 1 away, a runner at first here for Jefferson. In the bottom half of the sixth, the Rams trail by 3 runs. First pitch strike there to Espinal. Espinal in the first game of the doubleheader between Jefferson and Felician this year. That was a sweep by Jefferson in that game. Espinal in that first game 2 for 3 with an RBI. And then came back and in the second game was just a pinch hitter, 0 for 1, but had a good showing at the plate there in that 1 win over Felician earlier this year. Pitch outside, nice job there by Madrano to drop to his right to block that one. Keep.
And again, according to the Post Sports Information staff, Mike called it in the mid-90s for a pitch count. So you wonder if he's just going to max out here and try to get through this inning and make his coaches make a decision as to what to do with him.
Grounded to short. This could be 2. Nice job there by Hanau at short.
And you wonder if that pitch and that play bought their starting pitcher another inning.
Stepped on second himself, threw on to first with plenty of time. That ends the threat. And we head to the 7th with Felician up 7-4. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. Welcome back to Municipal Stadium. We head to the top of the seventh. 7-4 Felician. 4-5-6 hitters due up for the Golden Falcons here in the seventh. And this is the third time today where the 4-5-6 hitters have led off an inning. Happened back in the second and fourth innings. And all that happened in those instances, Felician scoring 3 runs. Voss, the first baseman, will lead off, followed by Skirvinick, the center fielder, and then the designated hitter, DeAngelis. But Voss led off with a single back in the second inning, stole second, came around to score on an RBI single from DeAngelis. And then back in the fourth inning, Voss led off with a double, moved up on a sac bunt from Skirvinick, came around to score on the sac fly RBI from DeAngelis, and then a Biolsi double, RBI double later in that frame. So when these three have led off the previous 2 times in an inning, they have done some damage, set the table and done some damage for the Golden Falcons. They lead at 7-4. Voss today, 2 for 2 in 3 plate appearances. As we mentioned, the single in the second, double in the fourth. Drew a walk back in the 5th inning. The slugging first baseman for Chris Langen's Golden Falcons. That pitch, this is low and outside. Count now 2-0 on Voss.
I think the key for athletic fan, 1, 2, 3, 4, all in there.
Reminder, fans, stick around following the game. We will bring you our post-game show. We'll get you the final numbers.
I appreciate that, fella.
Set the table for game 2 between Post and Goldie Beacom. Count now 2-1 on Voss. Morgan still on the mound for Jefferson. Came on in relief of the starter Samuel Bass back in the top of the 6th inning. Game 2 will begin approximately 25 to 30 minutes following the conclusion of this game. Swing and a miss there by Voss. He's retired for the first time today, 1 away. And that'll bring Skirvinick to the plate.
66, Jeff Squirmonic.
Struck out swinging back in the second. Had the sac bunt in the fourth that moved Voss up to third as he eventually came in to score and then doubled back in the 5th. That was an RBI double. 0-1 the count. Won the count. Pitch misses high. We were talking about, Mark, as you rejoin us here with 4-5-6 hitters once again leading off for Felician. 3rd time today leading off an inning. But finally getting to retire Voss as he was able to set the table the first 2 times.
He's been a tough out today, but it's been a complete team effort up and down the lineup building his lead for Felician.
That's a fly out to right there for Skirvinick. 2 away. So Morgan now 1 out away from having an efficient 1-2-3 inning here. And it would be a much needed one for Jefferson.
Giving the Rams just what they needed so far out of the bullpen, settling things down and giving them a chance to come back.
And that'll bring the designated hitter, Andrew DeAngelis, to the plate, the rookie from Staten Island, New York. First pitch of ball to DeAngelis. That one bounced back to the middle. However, Silva there. Nice range by the Jefferson shortstop. That's a few outstanding plays that he's made today. A quick 1-2-3, top of the 7th for Morgan. Gives the Rams exactly what they need as they try to mount a comeback. They trail by 3 runs. We head to the bottom of the 7th. Time to stretch it out. 7-4 Felician. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. We head to the bottom of the 7th, and Mark, as you mentioned, partner, at the end of the 6th, they just kind of let him finish out that inning and then go to their pen, but then he induces that quick double play. Did it buy him more time? The answer is yes. Mike Calden back out there for Felician.
And I think Felician trusts a lot of guys in their bullpen, but as we talked about right at the get-go, this is an empty the chamber type of tournament. At this point, not a great chance of him coming back on Saturday if you get that far. I mean, if he does some running and some icing, maybe, but the first goal to winning the championship is to winning this game and trying to only play once a day.
Well, when we think back to last year, Wilfredo Valenzuela threw 123 pitches in that first game and then came back and somehow, and I still don't know how, threw about, 35, 40 pitches?
But what I remember about that is so did Dan Raglovich at post.
Well, Dan Raglovich did too, yes.
Right up against him.
Yeah.
But neither coach thinking about Saturday right now.
No. 8-9-1 hitters due up for Jefferson here in the bottom of the 7th. Vita, the second baseman, leading off, takes a first pitch strike from Calden.
Living on that outside edge all day. Obviously the plan coming in.
That was a fantastic pitching performance last year, shown by both men, as you mentioned. Not just Wi-Fi, but Raglovich pitching twice in a 3-day span. 1-1 the count. Grounded through the left side for a base hit. Leadoff single for Vita. Second base hit of the day for Vita. Had an RBI single back in the second inning that scored Joshua Lopez.
31, Jordan Conversio.
Everybody's shaking Calden's hand, so it looks like Chris Langen's coming with a hook. So I guess they were going batter by batter. First batter got on, and they're going to give their bullpen some room. Our live stats have Calden at 99 pitches. Looks like Rafael Solano there, Doug.
Number 12.
That's who it looks like.
Rafael Solano, the junior righty from Jersey City, New Jersey. And he will face Tibercio. Let's get you Solano's numbers.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now pitching for the Golden Falcons. Number 12, Rafael Solano.
Solano this year, this is his 15th appearance. Previous 14 appearances, 4-2 with a 3.52 ERA. 3 starts, 30 and 2/3 innings pitched, 28 hits scattered over those 30 and 2/3 innings. 18 runs given up, only 12 earned, 31 strikeouts to just 21 walks. So after the leadoff single from Vita, Tibercio stepping to the plate.
Young man's played a very good center field today. Right now, trying to get the Rams a tying run to the plate.
Rocio today flew out to right back in the second, drew a walk in the fifth, and came around to score. That made it 5-4 at the time. Brought the Rams within a run. Then Felician tacked on 2 more in the sixth. And that's where we stand, 7-4 here. Nobody out in the bottom of the seventh. Runner at first for the Rams. That is Vita with the leadoff single. So that pitch outside now.
Showed bunt. As we talked about, that's the difference between a 7 and a 9 inning game. If they want to try to get 1 run each inning and tie it.
Want to know the count to Ty Rocio? Gets the bunt down. Voss tags out Ty Rocio, but he's able to buy time for Vita to get down to second. So 1 away, and we go back to the top of the order for the Rams, and the third baseman, Justin Egner.
Interesting situation there. I don't believe in the sport of baseball you're automatically out. He's automatically out when he started going backwards. I believe he still has to be tagged unless he goes back behind home plate. I think softball's different.
Egner today 2 for 3. Doubled and scored back in the first inning. Struck out in the third and singled, but was stranded eventually at third back in the fifth inning. And that was the inning where Calden really showed the emotion after getting that final out to end the threat for Jefferson and keep Felician at the time in the lead.
So the Rams elect to bunt with their 9 batter, try to get at least 1 run closer. Especially with Morgan doing a good job out of the bullpen so far.
They get a runner in scoring position here, 1 away. Leadoff hitter Egner at the plate, number 1 hitter in the lineup.
Solano didn't have to throw there. I'm not sure what that was all about.
One pitch on the way from Solano. Looks back to second, comes home. That pitch misses high. Two and one the count. Swung on, lifted into left field. However, Kendrick under it for the out, 2 away, and Vita remains at second.
Now batting for the Rams, first baseman, number 7, Chris McLean.
And that'll bring the first baseman, Chris McLean, to the plate. 1 for 3 today. Struck out back in both the first and third innings, but then had an RBI single in the fifth, scoring Ty Rocio. That made it 5-4 at the time. And dribbles out one foul over towards the first base dugout, manned by the Golden Falcons.
Solano's come out of the bullpen throwing strikes, but throwing quality strikes, not just throwing the ball down the middle.
Swing and a miss there by McLean. Quickly falls behind 0-2 to Solano.
Nice pitch running away.
So we saw Morgan come out of the pen for Jefferson and help the Rams escape a jam. And now can Solano do it for Felician? Pitch low and away.
Not much of a stop there from Solano. Might have gotten away with a balk. Or a quick pitch. Pauses a little longer here.
Pitch misses outside. Count even at 2-2.
And now that we have a different pitcher on the mound for Felician, you can see it definitely was the approach of the coaching staff to work away from the Ram hitters.
Will the umpire mention anything to him that's just standing off to his, well, from our vantage point to his left, if there's, hey, you need to come a little bit slower to the plate?
At the college level in a championship game, probably not.
Regular season, that
They might whisper in his ear, say, hey, man, stop for me. Now, in the cold in March, maybe. Not now.
What about the cold in May? Maybe getting low 50s tomorrow. It's some of the temperatures here in the next couple days.
I saw a meme on the internet somewhere that said, no matter what jacket you pick up this time of year, you're wrong.
And a big strikeout there for Solano. Escapes that jam. So both sides now going to their pen. And both relief pitchers, Morgan for Jefferson, Solano here for Felician, they bail their teams out and give a nice shot in the arm to their lineups coming up next inning.
And noteworthy there, Solano went to the inside part of the plate. Went under the batter's arms, got the call.
So we head now to the top of the eighth. The 7, 8, 9 hitters due up for the Golden Falcons. Morgan comes back out onto the mound here for Jefferson. Has pitched very well coming out of the pen here so far this afternoon for the Rams. So as you've said, Mark, you've mentioned several times that, you know, in a 7-inning game, you're going to have different kind of a game plan, maybe how you attack, you know, certain at-bats or those types of things. You're now getting into the final 6 outs of a 9-inning game. What do you try to do here if you're Felician? You got the 3-run lead, but that's in this with metal bats, it's never enough. But
I think for Felician, the thought process, and usually for coaches that are ahead, it's I want to get ahead by a grand slam. I want to get ahead by more than a grand slam. Mm-hmm. I don't want a grand slam to tie the game. So I think Felician will try to tack on 1 in each inning and get up by 5. And for the Rams, on the other hand, I think their running game has been neutralized by the fact that they're down 3. If they get the leadoff man on, they kind of have to go station to station now. And they have a lineup that's very capable of scoring runs very quickly. But if they get runners on, they kind of have to stay put now. It's not Morgan. Oh, my bad. Wrong team.
so 7, 8, 9 hitters due up for Felician here in the top of the 8th. Medrano, the catcher, has singled in each of his last 2 plate appearances and come around to score both times, that being in the 4th and 6th innings.
Middle of a couple big rallies for the Golden Falcons, so they took the lead and then built it.
That one ripped through the left side for a base hit. 3 consecutive singles for Medrano. And the leadoff runner aboard for the Golden Falcons. And that'll bring Biolsi to the plate. Biolsi today walked back in the 2nd, doubled and drove in a run there on that double in the 4th, and then struck out looking in the 6th. Throw over to first.
As we mentioned earlier in the game, the throw over a lot of times is to see what the batter will give away, and Biolsi did show bunt. So now the third baseman's pinching a little more. But it's a good strategy, as we talked about. Try to tack on late in the game. And then after the throw over, the bunt came off, and Biolsi fouls the ball off.
I'm on one now.
Check on Medrano from the left-handed Morgan.
And 0-1 the count.
Medrano also stole a base the last time he was on, so another thing to look for here. A lot of ways Felician can go with this. Get the 9-hitter Torres on deck. Well, he's due up.
And he gets him there at...
Yeah,
No, he is safe.
BLC beat the player first, yep.
Sorry, adjusting something here on the audio for the mixing board.
Now batting, second baseman, number 0, Alex Torres.
That's why I have you here, partner.
Felician's going to burn their offensive conference. Believe you get one inning. Now I got nothing. Okay.
So that will bring Torres to the plate. Throw over to first.
BLC with 12 stolen bases on the year. So again, a lot of ways Felician can play this. One of the higher totals for the Golden Falcons.
So one away here in the top of the 8th. Torres showed bunt, but pitch high and outside.
Interesting strategy to bunt with one out, but again, like we said, Torres was a guy that wasn't a starter until the midway point of the season.
Oh, and they found a way to drive in some runs today, Felician, that is, with 2 outs. So maybe they feel if they can at least get a runner in scoring position and you're heading back to the top of your order with Kendrick on deck, maybe you...
Yeah, an extra run is a big deal. Now, if you ask Solano, he's going to say, I don't need any more runs, but...
Kendrick on deck, Walters in the hole.
An extra run would definitely make the Felician coaching staff breathe easier.
Biolsi takes off for second. That's going to drop into center field for a base hit. And Biolsi on his way to third. So that's going to put runners at the corners with only one away here in the 8th.
And that's a bonus for Felician. Torres with a walk in the middle of the last rally, and now a big single here. Spins the order around yet again.
And we turn the page back to the top of the order, and Kendrick now at the plate. Kendrick today has reached base 3 times, grounded out to second back in the first inning, was hit by a pitch in the third, singled, came around to score in the 5th, and then had an RBI double in the 6th. So this is one of actually many players today for Felician that you want at the plate, because this offensive lineup today has really come through for the Golden Falcons.
And they've done it drip by drip. Haven't been a lot of extra base hits, but they've just been relentless.
So runners at the corners, only 1 out, and my partners mentioned if you're Felician, if you can make it now 4-run lead, make it a 5-run lead, you take it, as you said, that grand slam out of play, and that does help without a doubt.
Long conversation on the mound, so obviously the visit wasn't to take out Morgan necessarily, but just to take his temperature a little bit and probably talk a little strategy too. Runners on first and third. A lot more accounting than there ever was before in the umpiring business now. All these different rules about different types of trips, offensive conferences, and conferences with the coach, conferences without the coach.
The bunt laid down. This is going to get the job done. Nobody covering first. Biolsi comes in to score 8-4. Everybody safe. Runners at first and second for the Golden Falcons.
And worth noting that Bielsi was not breaking on the pitch. So he was going to wait and see what happened and read the bunt. Read it perfectly. Rams don't record an out. Felician scores a run without the ball leaving the infield.
So an RBI bunt there for Kendrick. That is his second run driven in here this afternoon.
And worth noting that both bunts that have scored runs today, one by each side, came right after mound visits.
Big swing and a miss there by Walters. Walters today, an RBI himself. RBI ground out back in the sixth. Trying to read my writing here. RBI ground out in the sixth. Also had the sack bunt back in the fifth inning that moved Kendrick up to second, and then Kendrick eventually came around to score.
Interesting there with the left-handed pitcher throwing over to first base. Torres took a couple extra steps off second, but stayed put. How you doing with the interpretation over there?
It was an RBI ground out.
Okay.
And that's what I'm sticking with.
Okay.
Two away now.
Yes, there was the chopper. Yep. Yes.
Okay. Yep. 3-4 on the put out there.
Yes.
Shortstop, number 13, Dory.
Is that ball caught?
So that'll
Yep.
bring him
Caught by a
out.
third baseman. Interesting
That
here.
one down the third base line. Egner can't come up with it, and that's going to load the bases.
Interesting play with 2 outs in first and second, because you're kind of leaving it up to the next guy, but you're also adding pressure.
Now batting, first baseman, number 38, Pregame.
I believe they're going to call that a hit there. That was a tough play for Egner to come in and make.
I hope so. And it pays off.
Through the middle, base hit. This is going to score 2. 10-4. Torres and Kendrick come in to score.
Now batting, center fielder, number 66, Jack Scrovine.
So Voss now today 3 for 4, has reached base in 4 of his 5 plate appearances, also has a walk. I told you beforehand your cleanup hitter is going to do that.
Right.
You got to like your chances.
Exactly. And set up by the bunt single, so the strategy paid off for Hey-Now.
And Skirvinick will be at the plate now for Felician following this conference on the mound, this pitching change. And it looks like they are going to Steve Graziano, the senior righty from Absecon, New Jersey. Let's get you Graziano's numbers.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention.
Graziano this year in 9 appearances, all in relief, 1-0 with a 2.92 ERA, 12 1/3 innings pitched, 11 hits given up, 5 runs allowed, only 4 earned, 11 strikeouts to 5 walks, and 1.30 whip. Another interesting note, we're talking about the Felician relief pitcher, Solano. He started in the second game this year of that doubleheader between Felician and Jefferson. That was back in early April at Alumni Field there at Jefferson. Went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, walked 3, struck out 2, took the loss that day. Final was 3-2, so it was a close game.
Okay.
But so he comes back in today and has a nice get out of the jam there for Felician back in the last inning. And now his team spots him another 2 runs. He's going to go out with some confidence out there. At least 6 runs.
And don't forget at that time of year you're playing 4-game weekend, so you're using your pitching a little differently. You had played at least one midweek game.
Skirvinick at the plate. Skirvinick with an RBI double back in the 5th inning. First pitch is strike to Skirvinick from Graziano.
Got a motion that you would probably call herky-jerky. Difficult to find the ball.
And you see as he starts it, he really holds that ball off his back hip there.
Some generous scoring, not giving the center fielder an error there to allow Voss to get the second.
So we've got runners in scoring position here. That is Henao at third, Voss at second. That pitch high and outside. Skirvinick at the plate. 8th Felician batter this inning. Swing and a miss there by Skirvinick. And that ends the threat for Felician, but the Golden Falcons do plate 3 more. They lead it now 10-4 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Step aside for a commercial break. We'll be back with more after this on the CACC Network. We head to the bottom of the 8th, 10-4, Felician over Jefferson. Solano back to the Mountain Falcons. Heart of the order due up for Jefferson here in the 8th, 3-4-5 hitters. Josh Lopez, Wood, and then Joshua Lopez. So if you're going to mount a 6-run rally and you have the lineup that Jefferson does, it's good to try to get it started with the heart of the order, your 3-4-5 guys.
But if you're Felician, this is where you want to see Josh Lopez with a multiple-run lead and leading off an inning.
Josh Lopez today had an RBI single back in the 1st, but since then flew out to right field in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th. Count evens up there at 1-1 from Solano to Josh Lopez. That one lined right at the second baseman, but fantastic play there by Torres. One away. We've seen we've seen terrific plays from Silva at short today from Jefferson, but we've seen quite a few from Torres at second today from Felician.
And as we talked about, a part-time player that got to start only because of an injury, and he's making the most of it as a fifth-year senior.
Wood pops that bunt attempt back up over the backstop.
Trying to get something started with the short game.
Reminder, fans, stick around following the game. We'll get you the final numbers from this one. Grounded to short. Hanau up with it. Throws on to first to retire Wood. 2 away. We'll get you the final numbers from this one. We'll set the table for our next game between Post and Goldie Beacom. That game will begin approximately 30 minutes following the conclusion of this one. It was slated for a 1 p.m. start. It's 12:53 right now on the East Coast here, so we still got an inning and a half an inning and a third to play. That pitch over for a called strike to Joshua Lopez.
Again, looked like Solano didn't stop. I think the batter said something to the umpire this time.
That one lifted foul. I believe the count should be 0-2.
Yep.
The scoreboard has it 0-1, but count 0-2.
Just didn't ring up the foul ball, that's all.
Actually, I don't believe they rang up the first pitch strike.
Okay.
Because then they put it up after the foul ball. And now the assistant coach, first base coach, for Jefferson, and then I think along with Pat Horvath, they are talking to home plate umpire, and I think they're talking about the not coming to a stop there before coming home. Unless I missed something else there.
No, I think that's what it was about. This is the second time I've seen Pat Horvath use his offensive confidence to try to calm down players. Very good strategy.
That pitch over for a called third strike. Gets the outside corner. Lopez not happy, but a quick 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th for Solano. And we head to the 9th. And Felician with a 6-run lead. They'll try to add more to it. Going to step aside for a commercial break. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. We head to the top of the 9th inning. 10-4 Felician over Jefferson. Graziano remains in the game to pitch for the Rams. The 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for the Golden Falcons. And today had an RBI single back in the 2nd inning. Had an RBI sac bunt back in the 4th. Sack bunt back in the 4th. And then, my handwriting sometimes could be bad. Flew out to left and then grounded out to short back in the 7th. Swung on, lifted into shallow center, and what a fantastic grab there by Tibercio. Had to turn on the jets and lay out for it.
He's been all over the place today.
Now batting, catcher, number 29, Jose David Madrano.
And that'll bring Madrano, the catcher, to the plate. Madrano today singles in each of his last 2 plate appearances and came around to score both times. Singled in the 4th, scored. Singled in the 6th and scored.
So using camera 3 over there doesn't have it perfect. And let's do this.
Listen, our PA guy was sprinting in the parking lot 15 minutes.
No, DeAngelis did not have the sack one earlier. It was a sack fly. 1-2 the count now to Madrano. 1 away here in the 9th. Swing and a miss. Madrano strikes out. 2 away. Got a couple. Got at least one pitcher from my vantage point here in the Felician pen loosening up, but not anywhere near bringing the velocity there. So they're going to go with Solano here in the bottom of the 9th, which makes all the sense in the world because the less pitching you can use here, it's going to make you help set you up that much better tomorrow in the winner's bracket game.
And as you talked about, a 6-run lead against this Jefferson team. The game is just not over.
Swing and a miss there by Biolsi. Biolsi reached on a fielder's choice back in the 8th inning, came around to score. That one ripped foul over the first base bullpen. 10 runs, 14 hits, 2 errors for Felician today. 4 runs, 9 hits, no errors for the Rams. We mentioned stick around following the game. We'll bring you the final numbers from this one, and we will head down to the field for post-game interviews. And Biolsi caught looking there. Quick 1-2-3 inning for Graziano, and we head to the bottom of the 9th. Jefferson needing 6 to keep this game going. Back with more after this on the CACC Network. We head to the bottom of the 9th. Jefferson needing 6 runs here to keep the game going. The 6, 7, 8 hitters due up for the Rams. So if this lead holds up, partner, let's take a look ahead here to the rest of the day. We got coming up here game 2 post against Goldie Beacom. Should be a great one.
Yep.
2 teams that are quite familiar playing in this tournament. But then one of those teams, the loser of that one, will play, as again, this is all assuming that this lead holds up for Felician. The loser of that one has to stick around and play Jefferson. And depending on how much pitching you have to use in that first game, you're still playing a dangerous Jefferson lineup. And, for Jefferson, it's going to be can you get some consistent pitching and make it work with the lineup that you got. But what are some of the thoughts that you've seen here from this first game here today?
Just a relentless Felician offense. Up and down, hits when they needed it, sticking to it, having a plan and sticking to it. It's been a complete team effort, although, Voss has been obviously the standout, but
Silva leading off for Jefferson here in the 9th. First pitch, a strike from Solano. Silva today, 0 for 3, 3 strikeouts. Has been a rough go of it for the shortstop at the plate. However, he's going to get a hit here. That's going to get through the gap in right center. That's going to allow him for a leadoff double. But we'll say this. He has been exceptional in the field today. He's even saved a few runs. It could
no
actually
question.
be more right now. It could be 12-4, 13-4 if he hasn't flashed the leather today like he has.
No question about it. Solano actually in line for a save here. Not only did he come into the game in a save situation, but he would pitch 3 innings if he finished.
And that'll bring the designated hitter Espinal to the plate. 0 for 3 today, struck out in the second, rounded to short in the fourth, and then hit into a 6U3 double play back in the sixth. That was where Henao ranged to his left and then took it to the bag himself and then threw on to first to complete the double play. 0-1 the count to Espinal. We've seen the middle infielders for both teams today look really sharp in the field. They've made some really nice plays. Silva, we see, as we mentioned about Henao there. We've seen Torres a few times.
Now, the game's been everything we could ask for.
1-1 the count.
And it's not over.
A big swing and a miss there. Now, not with this lineup. As we mentioned, we mentioned it earlier about like Ty Bercio, who's your number 9. He's hitting 264 coming into the game. That means you got a lineup that you can never take an off, at bat against. 1-2 the count. Fouled off. So the count remains 1-2. One, 2 pitch on the way. Did he go around? No. Madrano asked for an appeal down to the second base umpire. Ump said nope. We're all good. 2-2 the count now, even on Espinal. Felician 3 outs away from taking the rest of the day off. Swung on, popped up. Shallow right, just beyond the infield dirt. Torres under it for the out. 1 away. And Silva remains at second. That'll bring Vida, second baseman, to the plate. Vida today with an RBI single back in the second inning, and then also singled in the seventh. Was stranded at second. But doing some damage for Jefferson today from the 8th spot. First pitch strike to Vida. Swing and a miss there by Vida. So it's 105 here on the East Coast. As we mentioned, that Game 2 will start approximately a half hour after the end of this one. So you're probably looking right now, barring if we get into some 15-14 slugfest that takes forever in Game 2, you're probably looking at about a 5 p.m., 5:15 start, I think you would assume, for the second game, or for the third game tonight. 0-2 pitch.
And I've heard coaches talk a lot over the years about which team has it worse in that situation, the team that's has to stay on the field and play again, or the team that's had to wait around all day. And at that point in the tournament, I've seen it go both ways, and I don't know if it really matters. I mean, at that point, both teams are fighting for their lives. They've both got pretty good pitching staffs, and they're going to do whatever they have to do to try to win that game. I don't really know if either team has an advantage at that point, but it's two different schools of thought are interesting.
I know me personally, if it was me, I'd rather just play the back-to-back games. That's kind of what you've been trained on.
But I've also heard coaches say it's tough to lose and have to come right back and then try to save your season.
Mm-hmm.
And stay on the field.
Count remains 0-2 to Vida. Ty Bercio in the on-deck circle. 1 away, runner at second for Jefferson. Here in the bottom of the ninth, Rams trailing by 6 runs. Pitch gets away from Madrano. He loses where it's at. That's going to allow Silva to move up to third. So
Pretty inconsequential there.
Yeah. But if you're going to start a comeback somewhere, you got to do it. And now you're only 90 feet away from at least getting one run across.
Yeah, but in the ninth inning, that really doesn't matter. Whether he's at third base, home plate, they still need to get 5 more guys to the plate and on base.
Oh, no. I'm just saying they got to start somewhere on that. But, yeah. You're not going to focus on him at third. You're just going to keep the play trying to get the out.
And if you lose or win 10-4 or 10-5, nobody really cares. Except Solano, maybe in his stats. But
And now coming in, just to talk briefly with Solano and Medrano coming out. I think this is just to get him just to settle down a little bit. He's put a couple pitches in the dirt there. Medrano has had a block here.
just
two the count.
A, let him take a breather and be reminded of where we are in the game, and kind of guide him through it.
Solano has done a nice job out of the pen here this afternoon in relief of Mike Calden, who gave Felician, I would say, a quality start.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe not by the definition that they use statistically, but gave them everything they needed.
And Vita strikes out. No, agree. Not necessarily by the definition, but I've also felt in the metal bat game, what is the definition anymore?
Yeah, in college, sure.
You know, it really does be kind of, when it becomes a bloop and a blast game, you know, you kept a dangerous offense at bay enough where your offense could come through and then, you know, help you out as well. Pitch misses low, 1-1 the count.
And the game is past the 3-hour mark, but it's never felt like it's really dragged.
Mm-hmm. 1-2 the count, and the Rams down to their final strike. Tibercio at the plate. Tibercio today did draw a walk back in the 5th and came around to score. Rounded to second. Torres up with it. That will do it. We'll see Felician tomorrow in the winner's bracket at 11 a.m. Jefferson's going to have to come back here about 5 p.m. this afternoon to play in an elimination game, but 10-4 your final score. Partner, we're going to send it down to the field here shortly. We'll hear from Chris Langen, and we'll also hear from Ricky Voss. But let's talk about, in a lineup today full of a lot of really good offensive performances. Ricky Voss really set the table today. Reached base 4 of 5 plate appearances. Scored 3 runs. Drove in 2 runs. He really was a catalyst today for him.
Yep, for first-year Golden Falcon, I believe he came from New Jersey City University. Led off 2 innings by getting on base, and then later in the game got big hits with guys on base. Was everything Felicia needed today out of that middle of the lineup.
Oh, there she is.
And but I mean, they had 14 hits. So I mean, great team effort up and down. But Voss was the guy that stood out.
And another big thing for Felician, just looking ahead in this tournament, you got you got a lot of innings, a lot of pitches out of Mike Calden. Gave them what they needed. And then Solano comes in and pitches the rest of the way. At no point today have you taxed your pitching. And you set yourself up nice going into tomorrow and, depending on what happens, going into Saturday.
No, you give yourself a good feeling, and we'll see how Felician chooses to play it tomorrow, which guy they choose to go with. But, you know, like I said, the goal at the outset, the goal in this tournament is to play once a day.
We're going to step aside for a quick commercial break. We come back, we'll go down to the field, and we will talk with Ricky Voss and Chris Lang. And back with more after this on the CACC Network.
Test. Test. Looks like it's going to be peaking. Test. 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 All right, I'm going to go down there now. Test. 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 Test.
While we're waiting to send it back down.
Test. 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 Mike Vesey joining you on air real quick to let you know Doug DeBias is going down to the field right now. You'll see a couple players over there from Felician in a moment to talk with him about today's Game 1 momentarily.
Basic informed position. Really good all year. The reason after. Guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that would be the thing, too, because if need be, because there's really nothing in the camera on us, so we can be adjusted as we need to. So, yeah, we can do it there. Is there like I have one, and it has a little box, like a transmitter. Sometimes we'll hold it up to avoid any sort of obstruction. So I don't know, if whatever type of transmitter, that may work too. So.
Over there.
Oh, okay.
So, I guess like if over there or over here, we can put the cameras.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll let you know.
Because if the team in the third base dugout wins, then we can always do that one. Okay. Yeah. So. Oh, thanks. Felician and Jefferson. For Felician today, Thomas Kendrick, 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Hayden Walters, 0 for 4, did have an RBI. Dory Hanau, 1 for 5. Ricky Voss, 3 for 4 today, 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored. Reached base in 4 of his 5 plate appearances as he also drew a walk. Jack Skirvinick, 1 for 4 today with 2 RBI. Andrew DeAngelis, also 1 for 4, also knocked in a pair of runs. Jose David Medrano, 3 for 5, 2 runs scored. Chris Biolsi, 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Alex Torres, 1 for 3 with 2 runs scored. Mike Calden, the starting pitcher for Felician today, gets the win, 6 innings, 4 runs on 9 hits, only 3 earned, 10 strikeouts to only 2 walks. Rafael Solano comes on, pitches the final 3 innings, strikes out 3, only gives up 1 hit to earn the save over his 3-inning performance there out of the pen. For Jefferson, offensively for the Rams here, 2 for 4 with a run scored for Justin Egner leading off today. Chris McLean, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Josh Lopez, 1 for 4, also with an RBI. Marquise Wood, 0 for 3 with a run scored. Joshua Lopez, 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Gabe Silva, 1 for 4. Justin Espinal, 0 for 4. Matt Vita, 2 for 4 with a run scored. Jordan Tibercio, 0 for 2 with a run scored. And then the pitching today, the starting pitcher for Jefferson, he takes a loss. Samuel Bass, 5 1/3 innings. 7 runs on 8 hits, 3 strikeouts, 3 walks. Sean Morgan came on in relief, pitched 2 1/3 innings. Steve Graziano pitched an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts, no runs or hits allowed. So Bass takes the loss. Calden earns the win for Felician, and Solano earns the 3-inning save. 10-4 your final score. Felician advances to the winner's bracket tomorrow at 11 a.m. They will play the winner of our next game coming up here
in about 30 minutes. And that will be between Goldie Beacom and Post. So Felician will play the winner of that game tomorrow. And the second game will start here, as we said, about 2 p.m. And then Jefferson has to stick around to play tonight in the elimination game. They'll play the loser of this upcoming game. So that sets the table for the next one. We're going to step aside, going to take a brief break. And we encourage you to stick around here on the CACC network and tune in to the next broadcast. Again, you just go back to caccnetwork.com, the homepage, click on the watch link for Goldie Beacom Post. Until then, we'll talk to you soon right here on the CACC network. Good afternoon, everyone.